Okay, we are live. Today is 11/7/21, and this is our session 0 for our online Torchbearer group. Okay, today we're going to I'm going to teach you guys basically what this game is about, like some overlying themes. Then we'll do character creation as a group, one step at a time. And then at the end, we might go over some rules, but for the most part, probably not. It kind of depends on how long this whole thing takes. I've already gushed about Torchbearer to probably most of you, but for those of you who haven't heard my spiels, to make a really long story short, Torchbearer is basically a dungeon crawler in which you guys play adventurers who are considered basically the least respected member of society. You're basically less respected than even peasants. You have no talent for farming or craftsmanship really, or no respect from guilds or city guards or anything like that. So ultimately your only choice to make a living in this world is to dive into deep, dangerous dungeons and hopefully come back with loot and relatively intact. The gameplay basically cycles between two primary types of play. There's the town phase in which you will, let's start with there's the adventure phase in which you will actually run through dungeons room by room, tackling objectives, fighting or fighting off enemies, trying to survive traps, things like that. And that comes down to intelligent use of your skills, intelligent use of your time, intelligent use of your limited and well-tracked resources. You'll camp every once in a while to try and recover, and then after an adventure is over, you'll head back to town to do a longer recovery, to buy and sell equipment, sell treasure that you found, and in the end, hopefully pay all your taxes. Ultimately, that needing to get gold to pay your needing to get treasure to pay your taxes is the ultimate like motivator for your character to take risks and continue dungeoneering. And of course, you might have your own personal goals that develop over the course of the story. Like I said, your adventures are not very well respected. So compared to you guys are used to in Barbs, I asked everyone to come to this session without really any idea of what they're going to do because I wanted to make this easy for you guys, but also because I think it's better to make characters together as a group because this game is so heavily focused on what you can contribute to the whole. You guys are used to in Barbs playing like really, really heroic characters, very well respected, like powerful characters. Torchbearer is not going to be anything like that. You're going to play like people look at you like dirt. Your calling is one that is not typically well regarded. So for those of you who are creative, this might be a good opportunity to either play into that trope and play a character who's downtrodden and makes it work, or maybe you work against that trope and despite your status you should still try and be a hero anyway. But ultimately your motivation is money, and that's totally fine if you make a character that is only here to make treasure. Obviously, as with any campaign that I run, one of the main rules I have is you do have to make a character that likes the other members of your party and trusts them at least enough to sleep beside them in a dangerous camp. And won't betray each other or fuck each other over for no reason. And you also have to, you can't make a character that refuses to go on adventures. At the very least, you have to be motivated by loot, if not other motivations. I think you'll quickly find after playing that loot is a very important motivator. I just turned off my fucking screen. What the? Alright.
Loot.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen, and the reason I'm going to do that is because I have a PowerPoint that I'm just going to work through. You guys don't really have to follow the PowerPoint, it's just more so I can guide you. What I want everyone here to do is to hop onto Roll20. There's a link in the DM group for the game we're playing. I see everyone's on except for Sanjay, so go ahead and hop on Sanjay really fast. All of you should be able to see a character sheet with your name on it. They are all editable right now, so just try and only play with yours for now. In fact, I'll actually go in and try and screw around while I'm waiting for Sanjay. Ian, save.
Okay, which one's called?
It's called. Go to the Torchbearer online DM group.
Torchbearer, or you said Roll20?
No. It is on Roll20. I'm saying in the Discord DM group, there's there's a
Oh.
Roll20 link.
I don't see the DM group.
Did I never add you to it?
I don't think so.
No, you're in it. It's called Torchbearer Online.
Why can I not find this? Any dumb?
Here, I put a message in it. It should be at the top of your direct messages now.
Yeah, I'm not getting. I don't have any.
Is there another Jace the Lolly sculptor?
No, that's on my Roll20.
No. I know it's not your Roll20. Go on Discord, Sanjay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about
Yeah. Go on Discord. Go to your.
I was looking at my
DMs.
I was looking at my DMs in Roll20. I was like, what are you talking about?
Oh yeah. No. Yeah. And there's a Roll20 link. It's like 5 messages up.
All right, Torchbearer launch game.
Perfect. All right. Yeah. So go ahead and open up your character sheet. You're gonna see a lot on there. Don't worry too much about what all of this means. We're gonna work through it one at a time together, and it shouldn't be too difficult. If you want, you can watch my stream, so you can keep an eye on the PowerPoint, or you can just keep your character sheet open, whatever's easier for you. Alright, so really quick overview of everything we're gonna do. You're gonna end up picking a name. Typically it's not usually gonna include a last name, but rather it'll include a title. So you might be like Cordelia of Hearthfire, Orpheus the Cryomancer, Faust of Green, I don't know, stuff like that, you know? Typically speaking, you might end up making a last name over the course of this character creation, but you typically won't run with it.
It doesn't even mention I'm a Vasper Knight.
You're not me.
What's it called? You're gonna pick a stock, which is what this game calls race. There are 4 stocks: dwarf, elf, halfling, human. For those of you who are familiar with Lord of the Rings, the stocks in this are very, very similar to the way they are in Lord of the Rings.
So think of it like as kind of races in Lord of the Rings almost.
Yeah, and elves are all like snooty, and and dwarves are of the earth, and halflings love to eat. Like that's all like second breakfast is an ability that halflings get, for example, like stuff like that. So this game actually, the classes there's 6 classes: burglar, magician, outcast, ranger, theurge, and warrior, and all of these are tied to a stock. You cannot be a burglar without also being halfling. You can't be an outcast without also being a dwarf. So when you end up when we make this decision, you might want to consider, rather than like which class do I want to play, you might just want to pick like which stock do I want to play. So basically, like let's say you want to play a dwarf, but you don't want to play an outcast. You have to decide whether it's more important to you that you play a dwarf, or more important to you that you play a warrior or ranger or something. You're going to pick an age. It's depending on your stock. We'll get to that. You're going to pick a hometown, of which you have 4 options I will give you, or no, 5 options I will give you, or I'll let you make up your own. You will have a raiment, which is just a distinctive piece of clothing that most people know you by, like the guy with the top hat, or the dude with the fancy like banner on his shield, things like that. There's a couple relationships you will start with. You could start with parents, you could start with a mentor, you could start with a friend, you could start with an enemy, and then you have a bunch of actual like meaty stuff that we're going to work on. You're all going to start at level 1. Cap is level 10. Each level you get benefits from your class. You can only have one class at a time. You get to choose between 2 too. You'll have a belief, which is your main role-playing motivating factor. It's like it's what you fight for. The belief could be lots of different things, like fighting for money, fighting for friends, etc. You'll have a creed. We'll worry about that later. You get to level 3. A goal. We'll also worry about that later. You make that at the beginning of each session. And instinct is very, very important. We'll get to that, but it's like a thing that you are always like. It's like a thing you do on habit, by instinct. Traits are descriptive qualities of your character that provide gameplay benefits. Yes, exactly. What am I? What is? Your nature is.
It's so good.
Your nature is basically tied to your stock. So if you play a dwarf, your nature is a dwarven nature, and it has descriptors, and it's used for a bunch of like special things. It's very important, but also like it's tied mainly to your stock. You've got abilities, which are like ability scores in D&D. So instead of strength and constitution, we have will and health, and then we have a couple that are specifically used for town, like circles and resources. Will and health are the important ones, though. We'll get to that later. Then you've got skills, which are just like skills in D&D, which are things that you roll for. All the skills in this game are like armorer, rider, scout. They're like types of jobs, basically. You've got wises, which are your specialized topics of knowledge, things that you know more about. They can give you languages too, and then we'll worry about inventory and spells and stuff later. Whoops. Huh? Come on, go down. Okay. A really, really basic description of how to play. On a fundamental level, the game is pretty simple about how you play. It's a D6 system. You will roll dice to see if you're successful. Anything that's a 4 or higher on a d6 is considered a success. 1 to 3 is considered a failure. You'll roll a certain number of d6s based on like how good you are at the skill and what help you're getting and a couple other factors. And you need a certain number of successes to pass a test. The obstacle is the DC of the test. You need to match the obstacle or exceed it. There's a concept in this game called margin of success and margin of failure. Basically what that means is if you have an obstacle for a test, the margin of success is how much you beat it by, and the margin of failure is how much you failed it by. So if the obstacle is 3 and you roll 5 successes, your margin of success is 2. And some mechanics in the game require you to calculate the margin of success or failure to determine what happens to you. Another big part of this game is helping. Because of the way this game works, which I'll describe later, there's a very big motivation that every single roll that happens, everyone else is piling on some way that they can help. So if you're not rolling a test yourself, you are most likely trying to help the person roll the test. And then twists and conditions are what happens when you fail. Usually when you fail, you still get what you want. You still get what you want, but you might get a condition, which is like a negative hit to your health, basically. Or a twist, which is like you get what you want, but something bad happens at the same time, or something complicates the situation. That is, on a fundamental level, how you play the game. It's very straightforward. When we first start playing, we'll sort of work our way through the process, and eventually we'll get good at it. Alright, so these are the 6 playable classes, and it's going to be the decision we make first. It's the class, and essentially also the stock. The class and stock is the decision we're making first. It's kind of hard to do this without you guys might pick one here, and you might think like, oh, maybe you pick elf, and then we get to the nature of elves, and you're like, oh, this isn't really what I wanted. We can go back and change things, but I encourage you guys to keep an open mind, work your way through this, make decisions as we go, and then work with what you've got at the end, because ultimately characters will change over time, and even like the nature and personality of your character, over the course of character creation, you'll get to make a lot of decisions about what your personality is like, what your nature is like, and sort of refine the way your character works. Like, for example, like dwarves, one of their nature qualities is that they avenge grudges, but if you don't like that, you can change that, and you'll see that in character creation pop up. But right now, let's just talk about the classes really quickly. So you've got burglar, which are halflings only. Halflings themselves are known to be, they're underestimated because they're short and diminutive, but they're very patient, very enduring, very hardy. The burglar is good at sneaking and dealing with conditions. They're kind of all the non-magic classes are kind of good with dealing with conditions. Burglar is especially good at it. Then you got Magician, that's humans only. They can cast spells. Most of their spells are damaging, or conjurations, or utility in nature. Just so you know, there's 2 spellcasters in this game, and they're both very, very, very bare bones. Like, if you play a Magician, at level 1, you can cast 1 level 1 spell. And then that's it. You should do what, like a camp phase. So, and even when you get to level 3, you'll get your 2nd spell. Like, it's very, very, very limited, the magic in this game. So if you play a Magician or Theurge, you will still mostly be a physical character. You'll mostly be a physical character, but you'll have just a couple extra tricks up your sleeve, or maybe 1 extra trick up your sleeve in this case. So yeah, Magicians.
What are the spells like?
For Magician, they're like causing your staff to create a light, which sounds like a cantrip. In D&D, that's a cantrip. In Torchbearer, it's a 1st level spell, and I think it's a 1st level spell, and it's considered very valuable because light is a very valuable resource. I think there's like 1 1st level damaging spell. There's like stuff like, it's a lot of like help yourself get through the dungeon type things.
Are they like specific, kind of like a 5e, or are they more like broad, like in like Ryutama?
I actually don't even remember how they work from Ryutama, but it's kind of both. So they're specific insofar as they describe ways in which you can, like, specific examples in which you can like use them and how to incorporate those examples, but at the same time the spell is just a description that's, if you just read it on its own, feels pretty wide open-ended. Okay, then there's Outcast. Outcast is what you're playing if you're a dwarf. The reason it's called Outcast is because dwarves typically are very family oriented. They prefer to stay in their dwarven halls and work with their family, so if you play a dwarf, you are an outcast from that society. They are tough and resourceful. Defense-wise, they're particularly good. You've got rangers, which are elves only. They're wanderers. Elves in Torchbearer, they primarily sleep, and they spend their entire lives asleep, basically. An elf who decides to wake and begin basically has no choice but to travel because all of their other family and friends are asleep, and they decide that wanderlust takes them and they go traveling. So rangers are very, very good, specifically in the wilderness, navigating in the wilderness, etc., stuff like that. Then you've got Theurges. They're the other caster, humans only again. They are basically clerics. The whole idea here is that there are immortals, which are gods, and these immortals are basically mortals who manage to somehow become immortal through gaining immense power, and now they work through agents on Earth, I guess. Their spells are mostly heals and buffs. Actually, I would say they're almost exclusively about healing and buffing. It's like a fuckload of them. And as a side note, you don't have to be religious and be a Theurge at the same time. You can also just be like the unlucky guy who has attracted the attention of 1 or more immortals and has decided, well, at the very least, I'm going to make use of their powers as well. You don't have to strictly be religious. You can be, though. And to regenerate your powers as an immortal, as a Theurge, it does help to be part of a temple. But ultimately, you don't have to be religious if you don't want to be. And then lastly, this warrior. It's human only. They are just like the fighter in D&D. They are masters of weapons and armor. If you like fighter in D&D, you will feel at home with the warrior. Those are the classes. Now, on the next couple slides, I have finer details about the classes. But right now, before we continue, I want to ask everyone what their initial idea for which class they want is. I want you guys to talk about it real fast.
Well, it's simple for me. You guys already know.
I don't.
You guys should already know.
I don't.
What is it?
Warrior, always.
Oh yeah, you are. I suppose, I
I
guess.
think I'm going Outcast.
I was thinking Ranger.
Good.
I was thinking Ranger. I was also thinking Ranger, but
How conducive is this game to having multiple people of the same class, Adam?
It is pretty conducive. you guys will find that while you have some overlapping starting skills, you will be able to very easily at character creation branch out more. And then from there, as you play, you will be able to branch out more as well. Ultimately speaking, obviously there's going to be a little bit of like wasted potential for having two of the same class. But it's not the kind of game where I think like none of these classes are like necessary at all. You guys could play with 4 magicians or 4 rangers and you'd be fine.
Ian, I was browsing through this earlier. Do you want to do like ranged ranger or melee ranger? Because you can.
I have no idea.
Okay.
And can you tell me about magicians again? If I am a magician, am I going to suffer through looking through 500 spells trying to...
Here's exactly how this is going to work. Ready? During character creation, you're going to roll a die, and I'm going to tell you what spells you have. You're not going to actually even get to pick, unless you crit the roll or something. In which case, if you don't want to pick, you don't have to. But anyway, I'm going to give you those spells. You're going to write those spells down, and that's kind of what you're working with for a long time. At level 3, your mentor will teach you 1 more spell, and technically speaking, you can find loot. You might find a book and it has 1 spell in it, and if you like it, you can start using it. But if you don't like it, you can sell the book. So
one spell in an entire book.
yes,
A long
And
spell.
when I say that magic, like this is a low fantasy system with very little magic, I mean
I
like
keep forgetting it's low
magicians.
fantasy.
Magicians, you get 1 spell slot. Like in D&D words, you have 1 first level spell slot, and that's all you're working with. So in the camp phase, you get to memorize 1 of your 3 spells. So out in the world, you don't even get to pick between the 3 spells that you know that are in your book, because you prepared 1 during camp, and that's the one you know for this adventure phase.
But in theory, it doesn't really matter much, because, like, it doesn't matter for combat, because combat's not, like, turn, right? It's just, like...
Combat in this game is
Roll.
very
Abstract.
group face. It's like very group focused. The way it works is like you'll pick a combat leader, and that person will. You basically play rock paper scissors. Actually, is what it is. So as magicians, it's not like, oh, I need to have a damaging spell ready. And even if you did have a damaging spell ready, you would only be able to cast it a single time. The way magicians work is you have 1 spell slot for a first level spell, and you can cast it once, and that's it. And then you have to go to camp and recharge it. And you might not even decide that it's worth it to recharge it because it costs resources to do so. So in combat, you're still going to be, like, you probably won't cast a spell. You'll probably hit something with your dagger, or help someone maneuver to a stronger position, or maybe you'll be the person that's the go-to defender because you just sort of stay in a safe spot, so to speak. It's a little bit abstracted, but it's very much a rock, paper, scissors type style. It doesn't really matter. Odds are you'll probably have like a spell that you hope will be useful. It's not too complicated in my opinion, and there certainly isn't a lot of you're not going to get to choose what spell you get to pick, and I don't think there's a lot of choices as to spells. So I think at least for that particular concern, you might find the magician in this game is a lot more manageable than wizards in 5e.
Dare we
For
try,
the,
guys?
Dare we try?
The Theurge are like,
Is it Theurge or
are the
Thurge?
gods? I don't know.
I don't know. I thought it was Theurge.
Theurge.
Theurge? Okay.
Theurge.
Theurge. Alright.
Are
The
gods like
urge.
known quantities like they are in like 5e or
Immortals basically they're like mythological beings. It's like Achilles or like Gilgamesh, you know, like they're people
Right.
who are like legendary figures from history who have very like they're just can cast invocations, and it's very obvious that they do so, and it's very obvious that they regain these powers, you know, in temples or when they beseech these immortals. So in that sense, it seems like there's good evidence for them existing. That being said, there's not gods in, like, they're kind of the urge. Okay, cool. They're kind of like abstracted. Like, for example, there's an immortal called, I think it's called like the Lords of the Lords of Violence or something like that. And like that was originally one person, but like every additional person who became an immortal who fit underneath that umbrella became like a Lord of Violence or whatever it's called. I don't actually think that's it, but anyway. Point is, like, now every immortal is kind of like a pantheon of gods that fit to various sorts of historical figures.
Cool.
It's clear that there's some sort of power there, but whether that power is associated with a specific being or specific beings is unclear. But the immortals are worshipped to a large extent by human populations. The other three races, they don't really fuck with the immortals. And the immortals don't really fuck with them. Those races are a lot older than humans are. Immortals themselves are, for the most part, former humans.
Are the lifespans of elves super long in this?
Yeah, I think if you pick an elf, you're gonna get to pick an age between like, I think the maximum age you can pick is 100, and that's like considered the equivalent of being like 20 years old.
Must be 1,000. Let's try it. I can do Theurge.
Okay.
The Urge.
Alright, the Urge. Alright, so
The
right now
Urge.
I'm hearing
The
Warrior,
Urge.
Theurge, Ranger, Outcast, the bottom four. You guys just picked the ones that you can remember me talking about, right? You forgot what Burglar Magician were.
No, dude. I don't want to be
No.
a burglar
As soon as I
because I've done
saw
that in
Warrior, I
past
was like, I
lives.
have to.
You've done Halfling Burglar so much.
Only
I've
done
just never
Played
Three
3
times.
halflings in a row.
Look, the first two died too quickly.
When I first wrote this PowerPoint, under the burglar heading, I just wrote, "This is for Ian," and then moved on to magician. All right.
Never forget Frodo, who died in the first like half hour of the session.
I feel that, Ian. That's happened to me. Good old Nick's the Nick.
So since we're not making a burglar and magician, I'm just gonna go through these really fast. At the other ones, I'm gonna stop. So burglars are better at will than they are at health. Will is a measure of it's like wisdom in D&D. It's like how mentally strong you are. And health is like constitution in D&D, or it's like constitution and strength combined. It's like how, like hardy you are physically. Their skills, they're good at cooking. They've got the criminal skill, which is basically like lock picking and pickpocketing and things like that. It specifically is not sneaking. They've got fighter, which is the key ability to do combat with. They've got hunter, which is an alternative for combat and also just for hunting game. Scout is your sneaking ability. And then they've got scavenger, which is just like picking apart a battleground for bits and pieces that you can make useful. You can see that they've got a couple limited weapons and somewhat limited armor, and they've got a trait. Now I'm going to describe traits really fast. A trait is a couple words, and there's a big list of traits in the Scholar's Guide, which is in your in that group. And actually, I would recommend actually now if you go to the DM group, the Torchbearer Online DM group, I would open up this Scholar's Guide if you haven't already, and just have that ready to go. Because if you I have short descriptions of the traits here, but longer descriptions of the traits are in the book.
The Quick Rules Guide or the Dungeoneer's Guide?
The Dungeoneer's Guide. The Quick Rules
Okay.
Guide is something else. That's my PowerPoint that I made to teach you guys the game, which we probably
Gotcha.
won't use today. But the Dungeoneer's Guide, I recommend that you guys all open and have ready with you. Like if you were a burglar, and I would tell you to go to page wherever you see I type in DG and a number, that is a page reference. So if you want more information on the hidden deaths trait, you would go to page 179 of the Dungeoneer's Guide. But basically what a trait is, it's a descriptive word about your character. So hidden deaths describe that burglars are seemingly naive and forgettable, but deep down they are hardy against pain, fatigue, and despair, and also they like food. Every trait can be used positively to your benefit and negatively to your detriment. And there are specific rewards you get for using each trait in a positive or negative manner. Many sessions you will find yourself using each of your traits once positively and once negatively, because both the rewards are of value. So when you look at a trait, you should consider how the positive aspects of it might fit into your role playing, and how the negative aspects of it fit into your role playing. And if you like both, then it's a good trait for you. Let's see. Magician, they can distribute their points as they want between will and health. They're good at Arcanist, which is the spellcasting skill. Lore Master, which is your basic knowledge skill. Alchemist, which is literally making potions and poultices. Cartographer, which is making maps. And Scholar, which is like how good you are at like writing and reading. It's basically item use literacy. They've got Wizard Sights, which is like they're good at noticing weird shit, and they have very, very limited weapons. They can't wear any armor, and they have very limited weapon uses. Alright, Outcast. Who's my Outcast?
Me, but I might switch to Magician.
Okay.
We'll see.
Alright. If you want to start... This would be the spot to lock in the decision for more or less Neville. But anyway, so Outcasts are better at health than they are at will. Their skills are Fighter, the generic fighting skill. Dungeoneer, which is what you use to navigate dungeons, so it's what you would use to get through a trap safely, or find your way in or to some extent find your way in a dungeon safely. It's a little bit open-ended. Armorer is crafting weapons and repairing armor. Sapper is digging tunnels and setting traps. Orator is speaking to large crowds, and Scout is sneaking and tailing people and stuff like that. Outcasts are dwarves, and they are born of earth and stone. They are steadfast and sturdy with a special feel for metal and stone. Negatively speaking, they are stubborn and unyielding. They can use almost any weapon. They can't use greatswords because they're too tall for them, and they can use every armor type. So, Neville, between these two...
might switch between Magician, because I want to do more of like a Scholar character, and I think
A Scholar
Magician fits
character,
that.
okay. Yeah, and you've got the Scholar skill. So, Neville, go ahead and hop onto your character sheet. Let me actually go to your character sheet myself.
Doc, I'm human, class Magician.
Yes. Human, Magician. Ignore the rest of the stuff in that box. Level is 1. And then you're going to pick the other stuff in this. Hold on. There it is. And then let me grab this. All right.
Point between will and health, the cap of 6.
Yes. So, as a general rule of thumb, they are of equal importance because they are both necessary to recover from certain types of conditions. So if you don't know what to do here, you can just split it 4-4.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you are a magician doesn't mean that you have to. You'd like, oh, I should make my will better, because these don't really, technically speaking.
These are more like saving throws than like skill
Sort of.
checks.
You can use them as skill checks, and they are tied to specific skills. So technically speaking, if you have higher health, you are better at physical skills, and if you have higher will, you are better at mental skills. So if that's a concern to you, you should make your will higher. If you want to learn new skills that are mostly mental, and that's your focus, you should make your will higher.
And do I set these skills as like my starting skills?
Yes, these are what you're starting at. They can improve over time.
So Arcanist 4, Lore Master.
Yeah, so go ahead and set your skills.
Alchemist 2. Yeah, this fits a lot better with the idea.
What was Alchemist? What did that do?
That is making potions, poultices, things like that. It's very useful. Poultices and potions are particularly useful because, like, you can make healing poultices, and that'll help you recover from conditions down the line. Some people with the alchemist skill might find that during their camp phase, they have nothing to do but make poultices because you never know when you might need them. But then they take up inventory space, and now you have to consider whether you have the space to put one in your bag anyway. Really quickly, if you're looking at my stream, I want to point something out. You'll notice when Neville fills in a number, the advancement column fills with a bunch of circles, and the number of circles is based on what the skill level already is. The way this game works is you have to both pass and fail skill tests to improve it to the next level. So Neville's Arcanist skill, for example, he must pass 4 tests and fail 3 tests with Arcanist, and then it clicks up to 5.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with your character. So, it gets basically just harder and harder to improve these as you go, and failures are important. Don't be so afraid of failure because you need them to advance. If you never fail, you will never get better. Neville, your usable weapons are a dagger and staff. Don't worry about that now. We will pick inventory stuff later. You have no armor.
Okay.
You put Wizard Sight down. Put the trait level at 1. Perfect. Now you can see can click off its beneficial use, and you click off how many checks you have. Checks are associated with using it negatively against yourself. You can use every trait against yourself negatively once per session, and it will earn you either 1 or 2 checks. And then you'll use those during the camp phase. And then a beneficial use you can use to give yourself extra dice when you roll, and you can do it once per session. Alright, cool.
How do I unselect beneficial use?
What the fuck? I don't know.
Maybe you have to like put it into camp phase or something. I don't know.
Oh, maybe you have to go to play mode?
Mhm.
Oh yeah, there's an X next to it when you're in play mode. Yeah, okay, cool. Alright, so you're done, Neville, for Magician for now.
Alright, I'll be right back.
Alright, Ranger. Who's my Ranger?
That's a me.
Alright, cool. Steve,
Ranger.
go ahead and list your stock as Elf, and your class as Ranger. Your abilities are 4 and 4. You are you are evenly good at will and health, at mental and physical things. The skills you're going to take are Fighter 3, which is the generic fighting skill. Pathfinder 3, which is your ability to find the path in the wilderness specifically. Underground, the outcast is more useful than you are with their Dungeoneer skill. Above ground, it's all you.
Gotcha.
You've got the Scout ability, which is at 3, which is the ability to, tail people, be sneaky, things like that. And by the way, if you're curious about some of these skills, there's a much better description of all of them in the skills reference section of the Dungeoneer's Guide. You've got Hunter, which is your ability to hunt big game. Lore Master, which is just your general knowledge about magic and old shit. And Survivalist, which is a very valuable skill that you use to improve. You could do things like improve a camp that you've already constructed, which is probably the most useful function of it. I think there's I think you can use it to scavenge for food and water and stuff like that. That's a particularly valuable one. Your trait is Firstborn. You are the elves in this game were born with the fucking stars or some shit like that. I don't know. So you are recognized as kin by trees and stars. I'm gonna be honest with you. I barely know what that means, so I will try my best to incorporate it nonetheless. But basically, you think you're fucking special. You have specialized insight about the world or nature, and sometimes you struggle with decisions or potential consequences. Because you're so long-lived, your elves are used to when problems arise in the world. They're just like, okay, we'll go to sleep, and in 100 years, that problem will be dead. So you are very used to you are very used to just ignoring problems, and not having to procrastinating onto some decisions sometimes.
Right.
Usable weapons, those are your usable weapons. Don't worry about them right now, but that's what you can use. So later you'll probably pick one of those. And then armor, those are the armors you can use. Once again, don't worry about it right now. Alright, the Urge. Ian.
Hi.
You're putting your stock as human, and your class is the Urge, and your level is 1. You get to distribute, just like Neville did, 8 points between will and health with a cap of 2. Sorry, cap of 6. Once again, if you're not really sure where you want to go with that, just do 4 and 4. If you think you want to be a more mental-based character, go ahead and put more in will. If you think you want to be a more physical character, go ahead and put more in health. Your skills, you've got Fighter 3, which once again, the generic fighting skill. Ritualist, which is what you use to cast invocations, which are the Urge's version of spells. I should tell you now, Ian, actually, before we continue. The Urges are weird because, much like magicians, they have, instead of spell slots, you have, a mental burden. And when you cast your invocations, it places burden on you. And technically speaking, you can push past your burden and keep casting if you want to, but it causes dangerous side effects and could potentially kill you. So you can treat your burden like a spell slot and never go over your cap, except in extreme emergencies if you want. But you should know, technically speaking, that the Urge is not quite as limited in their casting as Magician, but it is much more limited in their options for spells because they are strictly buffing and healing.
Channel power is far beyond what he can wield.
Exactly. Yep. And you can literally if you cast too many invocations, you're first physical aspects of you will turn crazy. You'll turn blue and your tongue will start bleeding, and then like
permanently
later,
or?
no, not permanently, temporarily, and then later you'll like see stars, and you'll like demand that people call you by an ancient name, and then like eventually you'll lose consciousness or potentially die. It's pretty cool. Anyway, you've got Orator 3, which is speaking to large crowds. Healer 2, which is not magical healing. It's like a medicine check. Healer is very valuable because you can help other people recover from conditions in a manner that's a little bit more efficient than if they were recovering on their own. And then you've got Theologian, which is your knowledge about the immortals and religious things. Your trait is touched by the gods, which means that if you talk to an immortal, they listen. They may not necessarily respond, but they are always listening if you speak to them. If you're technically in some sense protected by the gods, maybe not in an obvious sense. Maybe that protection is just simply the fact that you can cast invocations, but in some sense the immortals care about when I say immortals, I mean all of them care about your health in some sense. And you can technically piss them off. That's the negative aspect. But once again, that's more of a role-playing thing rather than a mechanical thing. If you do, it's not like D&D where like if you go against your god, they might cause you to lose your break your oath or something. It's more like it's a way to inform your role. For usable weapons, you're gonna start with one that you can use, and you're not gonna be able to change it. So you should keep that. Like you're gonna pick mace. Like for example, you're gonna pick maces, and you're never gonna be able to change it to anything else. So from that point on, you are a mace boy. But we'll talk about that later. And then you can't wear armor, but you can wear shield. And Sanjay, you're my warrior, right?
Hey, yes.
All right, go to your character sheet. You're gonna put in human for your stock. You're gonna put in warrior for your class. You're gonna put your level as 1. You can also distribute 8 points between will and health with a cap of 6. You can go 6-2, 4-4, 5-3, however you want.
Man, how come I'm the only one that doesn't get to do that?
Sorry.
Will and health.
The game said no choices for you.
Steve, make the choice for me.
When we add it, it's 8, so it'd be
6-2.
plus the
6-2,
one, right?
YOLO.
6-2. Oh god.
Do we know what will and health do, or are we still
so will is like a measure of it's like wisdom or intelligence or it's like a measure of your mental strength. How good are you at logic, at resisting mental effects, things like that. Health is like your constitution and your strength combined. How good you are pushing, pulling things. There's no athletic skill, for example, in this game. If you need to do something athletic, I'll ask for a health test.
All right, 7-3 then. So what? 8. So it's 6 in health, 2 in will. So that'd be 7-3, or is it?
No, 6-2. That would be. You have to add it to 8.
Okay, my bad.
So really quickly,
Sanjay tried to cheat out numbers already.
Really quickly, I want to double check across the board. So I know Steve is 4-4 for will and health. Neville, what's your will and health?
5 will, 3 health.
5 will, 3 health. Ian, what about you?
I've been told to do 6-2.
6 will, 2 health. Okay.
No, 2 will, 6 health.
And that's 6 health, 2 will, easy.
Wait. Are Sanjay and Ian the same or the opposite?
Opposite.
Opposite. Okay, gotcha. Okay, that's totally fine. It'll.
We're gonna die.
It's actually in the way this game works is like the more balanced and more spread out your character is, the more you can contribute to the group. Like the more frequently you contribute, but the more specialized you are, the easier the game will be. In a lot of ways. All right, Sanjay, your skills.
Sanjay's a warrior with no will. Is that like courage?
No, technically it is courage, because there's an afraid condition, and to recover from being afraid, you need to do a will check. So sometimes
it's more like strength.
It's like mental strength, yeah.
Whatever.
And health is like strength and constitution, like resisting poisons and stuff. All right, anyway, Sanjay, skills. Go ahead and put these numbers in. Your fighter is 4. That's your generic fighting ability. Your hunter is 3. It's hunting big game. Your commander is 2. That is specifically commanding forces in battle and battle tactics.
What was my hunter again?
Your hunter
Say forces or horses?
Forces.
Okay.
Horses.
Your fighter 4, hunter 3, commander 2. Your mentor 2. Mentor is what you use to teach other people skills you know. Learning new
Damn.
skills, one of the easiest ways to do it is to find a mentor for that skill. So technically speaking, since Sanjay is a mentor too, he could teach other people commander or other stuff that he knows. And your last one, Sanjay, is rider 2. That's specifically used to
Rider.
ride mounts.
Rider class servant.
And forces
Alright,
and
Sanjay,
horses.
in the bottom left corner where it says trait, go ahead and type in Heart of Battle. Really quick description of how you roleplay this trait. You are a creature of action. You put yourself in harm's way with skill and valor in pursuit of your goals. Sometimes you are too willing to use violence when other methods will do.
Oh, perfect. This is exactly how the roleplay is perfect.
Oh dear.
I picked the right
The
class.
true
boys.
epitome of a murder hobo.
Yeah, and then Sanjay, you can use any weapons and armor. We'll get to that later. Alright, is there anyone at this point who feels like, I definitely don't want to play the class I'm playing?
I would like to disown Sanjay from the party. He's
Too
a threat
late
to
here.
all of us.
He's a threat.
Listen. This is like Zamorak, but unleashed.
I know it is.
Zamorak Unleashed.
Alright, I'm just gonna really
And you
quickly
thought Zamorak was bad.
sheets, so to make sure that we're all on the good. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Sanjay is the reason why adventurers have such a bad name.
True.
Alright, 6 will, 2 health, nature 1 out of 1. Alright, that's good. Ian, you're fine. Sanjay. Character sheet.
Oh, I'm in edit mode right now.
Yep,
Can you still see it when I'm in?
Yeah, I can still see it in your edit mode. This all looks correct. 111, Heart of Battle. Yep, also good. Oh, sorry, Sanjay, where it says trait level next to Heart of Battle, set it to 1. Everyone, your trait
What's-
should be at level 1.
How do you change your from edit mode and play mode?
In the top
Very
right,
top
right.
it says there's tabs for edit mode.
Oh, I see. I just my window's too small.
Yep. Alright, so Sanjay, you're good. Silas, which is Neville.
Strangely, the sheet doesn't fit in the window, but
Yeah, I know, isn't it annoying?
Do we put the title in our name, by the way?
You mean like when you pick your name?
Yeah.
Yeah, like so your name would literally be like Kirin of Krafen or like Kirin of the Blade or something like that, you know? It wouldn't be like Kirin Inagami. But we'll get to that. You don't have to make a you can just think about the name for now. Well, there's a section for
Well,
the
I
name.
already got
later.
my name. I already got my name. Don't worry.
Okay, that's
Or
fine.
does it specific? Does it be specific, or does your name impact anything?
It doesn't impact anything, but it would be strange to not have a title. You can
Gotcha,
run
okay.
without one if you want to, but a lot of adventurers choose to have one because it distinguishes them from the rest of the adventurers. Anyway,
Gotcha.
Neville, Silas, Human and Magician, level 1, Wizard Sight. Does your Will and Health say 51 and 31?
Yeah, I don't know why it looks like that. I just put a
It-
5 and a 3.
No,
I think
you
it
have to-
automatically put a 1 in there, so you got
you
to
have to
erase
what was
1.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Alchemist 2,
Neville,
Artist
gosh,
2, Carter
trying to
2, Lore
cheat.
Master 2, Scholar 2.
I
Alright,
did
this
that
all
too.
checks out, and then Steve, you're the last person I'm checking. Let's see.
Darn it, guys, you got me. You made Adam see that I had 51 health and will.
Your stock is elf and not GME, but Traits first 4, Will 4, Health 4, Fire 3, Hunter 2. That was a good joke. Lore Master 2.
Wait, what did he put its trait?
He put his stock as the money sign GME. Like the. Alright, that
I was pretty
good.
proud of that one.
That's pretty good.
Damn it! I should have done something like that too. Fuck. Or like TSLA.
Yeah.
Alright, so now we're going to do a couple optional edits to your character sheets. The first edit is, if you want to, right now, the skills that I've given you, you may redistribute the points up to a maximum rating of 4. You're not allowed to choose new skills this way, but you can
Oh,
you can
okay.
get rid of some of the skills that are in this list. So for example, if Sanjay, if you feel like you don't really need the rider skill, you can redistribute those points somewhere else. So you can you
A
can
maximum of 4, though, right?
the max is 4. Now, this decision is important. If you want to be more specialized, you will find that Torchbearer is generally easier. You will pass more tests. But you will also find that if you widen your horizons, that you'll be able to help other players with lots of things and lots of situations that show up, you will be able to have some sort of agency in. The more specialized you are, the less agency you will have. But when you do have agency, your agency is a lot deeper, basically. So you should decide now whether you want to be highly specialized at a few things or whether you want to be able to help and contribute to a wide variety of tasks. You will get to learn new skills down the line, and any skill you don't have, you can still test for you just do something called beginner's luck. To make a long story short, you roll basically half your will or half your health. So that's why like having good will or good health can teach you new skills of that category. What's it called? I would recommend that if there are any overlaps, which I believe there are some, with the exception of fighter, you guys should talk about it. So fighter, I think everybody here has. Yes, everyone here has fighter. Other.
Wait, I don't.
What are you?
He's a magician.
Oh, you're a magician, not an outcast. Okay, yeah, that's okay that you don't have fighter. You're just gonna be like very specific about the types of check. Like your role in combat is gonna be way more specific than everyone else's role in combat.
Right.
But anyway, I would talk about any overlap you have. So for example, I'm gonna really quickly go through the overlaps. So I think both Steve and Neville should have Lore Master 3.
Yeah, or I have Lore Master 2.
Oh, Neville has Lore Master 3, Steve has Lore Master 2, so that's one overlap. I'm not telling you what to do with these, I'm just telling you what the overlaps are. So there's a Lore Master overlap. There is a Scout overlap, I want to say.
Scout, no.
No.
I have Scout.
Ranger.
I have Hunter, but not Scout.
No, sorry. There's a Hunter overlap. No, is there? Yes, there's a Hunter overlap between the Ranger and the Warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, what's yours at?
2.
Okay.
I want to say that's it, to be honest. Yeah, actually no, that's it. That's all the overlap. So go ahead and take a couple of minutes to redistribute your skills if you want. Let me know when you're oh, perfect, thank you. Yeah, so other than fighter, I would not, if you want to up your fighter, go ahead. I would probably avoid dropping your fighter. If you really want to, go ahead. It is far from a necessary skill. As long as, I would say as long as like 2 people have it, you guys should be good. If none of you had it, this would be a difficult game.
Could you go over Arcanist again? The skill?
Oh, Arcanist? Arcanist is what you use to cast spells. That's it. That's all you do.
Oh.
You cast your spells. You don't use it for anything else. If you want to know things about magic stuff, that's Lore Master.
So how important, like, I start with Arcanist 4, how important is that to be able to, like, do things as a magician?
The better you are at Arcanist, the more often you will successfully cast a spell without hurting yourself.
That's a
Alright, I'm gonna drop it a point then, that sounds fun.
Dear.
Wait, what are you dropping?
He's dropping
Arcanist.
Arcanist a point. So
Oh,
he can hurt
Jesus.
himself.
The one that keeps him safe.
I put it in Scholar instead.
So Steve, for Hunter, looking at the Dungeoneer's Guide right now for it.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at too.
So mine's at 3 right now, but I wouldn't mind reallocating mine to like either Mentor or Rider because I was reading Rider and that seems good for mounts.
Yeah.
When we have them.
I mean, I'm planning on keeping mine where it is, so
At 2.
yeah.
So
I should warn you, Sanjay, just as a heads up. You might find it difficult initially to find a mount. Keep in mind,
Yeah,
if
and
you
that's-
are poor.
And that's what I was thinking too. So, Rider really depends on if we can find mounts. Commander also depends if we have people to command as well, which is
So I think the situations where commander will come up in a dungeon is like if you manage to convince denizens of the dungeon to fight on your behalf, for example.
Yeah.
so.
Or
And
if
then
you
we
find yourself in a strategy meeting, and people like NPCs ask you to contribute to that strategy meeting.
Convince a group of kobolds to join in your mass suicide cult.
Exactly.
No, that's
Gotta keep these
Raiders.
examples Sanjay specific, Adam.
Yeah.
I think I might drop Lore Master.
Alright. I'm keeping mine, because that's very...
Oh, one more thing I should say.
I don't
Having-
really see how that fits with Hunter. I guess it's more elf related than Hunter.
Having overlap isn't necessarily a bad thing.
Or Ranger, sorry.
Technically speaking,
Yeah.
for example, if Neville and Steve both have Lore Master, and a Lore Master test is necessary, whoever's got the better Lore Master will probably make the test, and the other person can use their Lore Master to describe how they would help to
Mhm.
provide their their helping dice. So technically speaking, overlap isn't a terrible thing. But
I
there are
mean,
plenty of
before
ways
you
to help.
even mentioned the overlap thing, I was still thinking Lore Master wasn't.
Yeah,
It didn't really
sure. No,
fit
yeah,
with
yeah.
what I wanted to go for here.
The other thing I want
This
to
one-
mention about that is there's tons of ways to help all of these tests. The book recommends some, and I can think of dozens more. So
Oh wait, how does?
So we can go to a max of 4, right, on something that we have here.
you can the skill rating can max out at 4.
Okay.
And an existing trait that we have.
In an existing
Skill.
skill that you have. Yep.
Yeah.
You cannot pick up
Yes.
any new skills.
So this one's a hard one. I might drop a 1 hunter point for a mentor point in case I need to teach you guys stuff in the future. Especially like Rider, we do get mounts. That'd be good to teach you guys.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's because I think mentor 2 because you guys don't have any Rider points right now. So I mean mentor
No.
2 should be fine enough.
Just
Hunter 3.
carry
What
all
are the
of us.
benefits of Hunter
Just
3
carry-
opposed to
just
2?
do a health test to carry things. Actually, if you wanted to carry things,
I
that's
think
a-
the
that's a
higher it
laborer
is, just the
test.
better at it you are, right?
The higher the rating, the more dice you will get to roll, and such.
Right.
So the odds of your success go up. Every single d6 has a 50% chance of coming up as a success. So if you roll 2 dice, your average successes is 1. Obstacles for like tests, they tend to vary between about 2 and 5. You'll find that things are like obstacle 2 and obstacle 3. Those are very common difficulties.
All right, I
You know,
dropped
I'm just
my
gonna keep-
Arcanist
I'm gonna
to
keep
3.
mine how
Let's
it is,
see how
actually.
that works.
I don't think I'm gonna change mine just because I think it's spread out in a good way right now.
I need a 4 or higher to succeed, right?
Yeah.
So I got dropping Arcanist to 3 is gonna be a fail for me.
Oh, no,
Alright.
it's already dead.
Is there
Is-
anyone who's still adjusting, or is everyone good
Is
now?
is Ritualists and Oily the thing that keeps me safe?
Yes. Ritualist is your version of Arcanist. You need it. The higher it is, the less likely you are to hurt yourself with your
Spells.
invocations.
I'm gonna put my point back in Arcanist because I want to be good at things. I took it out of Alchemist instead.
I want to be good at things. Yeah, with an Arcanist of 4, your average success, you'll get 2 on average. So it's like obstacle 3. Wow, suddenly that's so much harder. All right.
So that's a 5d6.
Is everyone done? Anyone still working? Okay, perfect. Let's move on. I should have, what, 3 humans in this group? Everyone but Steve is a human?
Yikes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yikes, Steve.
Okay.
Outcast.
3 humans
Sean.
and an elf.
For my humans, you're each going to pick
Sounds like a
one of the
sitcom.
things. These are related to your human upbringing. They're the things you did before you were an adventurer, possibly related to how your parents raised you, or the kinds of odd jobs you might have had before you took on life of adventure, etc. Each of you is going to pick one of these and set it at a rating of 3. If you already have it, just up it by 1 to a maximum of 4. I don't think you already have any of these. I heavily recommend that you guys pick different ones, and let me describe them for you. So criminal is what you use to pick pockets and pick locks and things like that, criminal activities. Laborer is a really important one. You use it to do any sort of physical labor. So lifting heavy objects, carrying fuckloads of treasure out of the dungeon, moving heavy rocks that are blocking your path. Those are all laborer. That's a very useful one to have. Haggler is what you use specifically to haggle prices in town. It's a pretty narrow use case, but you might find it fun. Pathfinder, I think Steve should already
I have Pathfinder 3, yeah.
Pathfinder is used to find your way through the wilderness specifically, not dungeons. Peasant
Like,
is
be peasant.
specifically for farming, I want to say. Actually, let me do myself a huge favor and open up my...
How relevant is that gonna be?
Yeah, how
And
much
undertake
farming are
farm
we going
work.
to do?
Farm
Use the
Simulator.
peasant skill to build or mend, undertake
All right,
farm work, and
Here it is.
complain.
Everybody
yeah,
take
huh?
Peasant 3,
Peasant
and we're
is
going to start a
for
farm. We're never going to go into a dungeon.
It's like for like building fences and gates, mending them, farm work, and complaining.
Complaining. I love.
Yeah, you can be tested with your ability to complain.
Yeah, Adam, we're never going into a dungeon. This is just going to be farming sim.
Yeah, I think peasant, you might not find that super useful very frequently, but I don't know. If you want it, take it. Survivalist is
Depends how
another.
much you want to complain.
Survivalist is another super useful one. I believe Steve has it at a rating
I
of
have
2.
Survivalist 3, yeah.
3,
Oh, damn.
okay. Survivalist is
I
for
bumped it
improving
up.
your camp, foraging for food and water. What else? Survivalist. Make shelter, find water, build fires, rig new tools from scrap, read the weather to know whether you should wait it out, furnish your camp, make emergency tools. Survivalist is so useful that if you have overlap in this, I would say you're not making a mistake. Labor, I think if I had to tell you what the most important ones in this list are, they would be Survivalist, Laborer, and Pathfinder, maybe Criminal. I'm not totally sure about that one.
Which one was
What does criminal do?
Criminal is for
So
smuggling,
pickpocketing.
counterfeiting, pickpocketing, lockpicking, and escaping your bonds if you are tied up or handcuffed.
So all thief stuff except for sneaking,
Everything except sneaking. Yep.
which
Sneaking
is in Scout, right?
Scout,
Okay.
to be more specific, is spotting/tracking monsters, sneaking, trailing someone, detecting traps, finding hidden people or items.
Okay.
So Scout's also a really beefy one.
Glad I've got Scout 4.
What?
All right. So anyway,
Okay.
pick everyone.
Ah, Jesus.
So Neville, what are you picking?
Haggler.
Ian, what are you picking?
Concluded that Steve is really all we need. I'm just gonna drop out.
I'm the sneaky one. I'm the one that's gonna live off the land in the woods. And the
Probably survivalist.
Survivalist. Yep. Great choice. Good one to have overlap on. Sanjay, what do you want?
So what did you say? You said a Haggler's Neville?
Neville's a haggler.
I'm Haggler.
And Ian picked survivalist.
My list. Gosh, I really want to do criminal because of my character, but
Do
I
it.
feel like labor might be better.
Criminal and labor are both excellent choices.
Let's do criminal.
Okay, perfect. All right. Just so you know, Sanjay, you'll naturally be pretty good at doing laborer even if you don't have it because your health is high. So technically speaking, I think criminal is a good choice. All right, perfect.
So
So
three for criminal then.
You're setting it to 3. If you whatever you picked from this list, you are setting it to 3. If you already had it, you're just upping it by 1. Which I don't think is true for any of you. So all of you are just setting your rating to 3. All right. You are going to pick your hometown. I'm going to briefly tell you about our setting. So our setting is called the Kingdom
Ancient
of
Rome.
Ascension.
Wait, I don't get to add an extra one?
You're not human.
No, you're not human.
Wow.
It sucks.
Humans really are favored here, huh? They get 3 classes to choose from. They get a bonus skill.
I think the idea is like the other races are stronger and easier to play, but humans are a little bit more. There's a couple more choices you get to make.
Human.
Basically. You'll find that I think the.
I guess
class you
both
chose-
magic classes are the
mhm.
human ones, so.
Yeah, but technically speaking, the human class is warrior, and then they toss both the magic classes in there too.
Yeah.
Let's see, towns, Kingdom of Ascension. All right, so this map that you see on my stream is the Kingdom of Ascension. Basically, the entire
It's so
world.
tiny.
It's so
Uh,
tiny, yeah,
yeah.
I can't see it.
How's that?
Zoom in.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. Much better.
All right, so the entire world, as you know it, is on these ascension peaks. This massive mountain range that spreads in every direction, practically.
Small world.
The reason the world, that as you know it, and there might be other cities elsewhere, but this is what you guys know of, lives on top of mountains is because the flatlands, the plains, the valleys are full of monsters. Legend has it that elves and dwarves and halflings, the elven races, used to inhabit those lands, but then were driven out due to their folly by warriors and also like religious figures like immortals, and they fled to the mountains where they were safe at high altitudes, and with the barrier of the mountains they were safe from these monsters. Not totally safe though, because even to this day monsters will come up from the valleys to attack these cities, and the peaks themselves are riddled with cave systems within which many monsters call their home. As adventurers, frequently your calling is to do something about these monsters when they come out of their caves. You've got 4 towns. You've got 4 what we call bustling metropolises, basically big cities. Winterhold is a dwarven hall. It's actually not a bustling metropolis. It's a dwarven hall. Everyone who lives here is a dwarf. They fucking
That's to nothing.
hold on. I had a sudden description too. The people of Winterhold are all dwarves. Anyone else who's there of any other race, they're usually just visiting. They feel right at home on the mountains. They export a large amount of stone and ore. They sort of, because they live at the highest altitudes of the mountain range, they consider themselves the overseers and protectors of the realm. Although the other cities kind of don't like that. They think that they're so high and mighty. The buildings here are like massive stone buildings that frequently are capped with snow. For my Final Fantasy players, think Foundation in Final Fantasy 14, which is actually only 2 of you. Anyway, then you've got Spring Hollow here to our left. Spring Hollow is a bustling metropolis nestled in shallow caves which are free of monsters. A very large variety of races call this their home, but it's mostly races. It's mostly halflings. This is where a lot of the halflings have their like hobbit holes, you know. It's a major export of textiles, a center for music and art. The average citizen's demeanor is that of contentment because this is a particularly safe part of the mountain range. We're beginning our campaign near Spring Hollow, not in Spring Hollow, but near it. Fall Haven is a bustling metropolis of pulleys and scaffolding and constant expansion. Lots of races live here, but mostly the industrious humans outnumber the others. It's a very technologically advanced place. It's full of universities of physics and chemistry. The humans of the city consider themselves to be intelligent in ways that the elder races are not, and are proud of their accomplishments. Buildings here, they stand on strong scaffolding, and pulleys carry lifts to and from various parts of the cities, and they have a particular problem with crime here. Lastly, down here in the bottom right, is Summerthrone. Summerthrone is an elf home, which means that everyone who sleeps here is limited to elves only. The other races only visit here. The elves despise the fact that they live in the mountains instead of their lush forest down under, and have thus elected to live in the lowest of the safe mountains, where some trees remind them of their forests. They build their homes in these trees, and they maintain their eternal sleep, except for those who have woken and taken to traveling as rangers, like Steve, or the few selfless ones who make up the city guard and perform farm duties, as the city is the largest exporter of food. You may pick, let's go back to picking your home. You are going to pick a home type. Based on the home type you pick, you're gonna, if it doesn't already have a name, because you're gonna get to pick any 4 of those, or another one which I'll talk about later. You're gonna get 1 skill from the home, like basically based on their specialties, at a rating of 2. And if you already have it, you're gonna up it by 1, and you're gonna get a trait from the home. So your home's gonna define a skill you have and a trait you have. All right. So an elf home. If you want to start in an elf home, your hometown is called Summerthrone. The skills you can pick from at a rating of 2 are Healer, Mentor, or Pathfinder. And you can pick between one of these 2 traits, and longer descriptions are at the listed pages. You can either be Calm, difficult to anger, you shrug off emotion easily, you risk becoming too calm, and you miss threats, which is very similar to the Elven trait of
Firstborn.
Or you can be quiet. You're quiet in the way you speak and walk, and sometimes you struggle to come out of your shell. Steve, do you want to pick an elf home, or do you want to see the other?
I want to see what the other options are first.
All right, we'll keep going. Dwarven halls. If you're playing a dwarven hall, your home is Winterhold. And I should mention, by the way, you can't pick a dwarven hall unless you're a dwarf, and you can't pick an elf home unless you're an elf. The other options, everyone can pick. If you end up picking the dwarven halls of Winterhold, you're gonna get to pick between armorer, laborer, and stonemason. You can have the cunning trait.
Wait, Neville's a human.
Whoops,
Neville's
never mind.
human.
Who's the dwarf?
Yeah, it's just,
No,
We
no,
don't
no.
have a dwarf.
we don't have a
It's
dwarf.
3 humans and an elf.
Fuck this one. We're skipping it. You can start a religious bastion, which is a good choice for a theurge. The skills they give you are cartographer, which is your ability to make maps, which have a specific function in this game to basically allow you to fast travel through dungeons. Scholar, which is reading and writing, or theologian, which is your knowledge about religion. Your traits are defender, which is you know the value of defending your home. Sometimes that's more important to you than your friends. Or scarred, you survived a terrible war, and so you're tough, but you have PTSD. A bustling metropolis. If you pick a bustling metropolis, you're going to pick either Fall Haven or Spring Hollow. the halfling dominated one with the human dominated one, whichever one you want. You can pick either haggler, sailor, or steward. Sailor is for what it sounds like, sailing your boat, and steward is for like clerical duties. Like if you want to like organize a party, you're doing steward, or if you want to like write up a ledger for a king, you're doing steward. It's basically like a bunch of, it's like being a secretary basically.
Time to pick steward.
Your trait options are extravagant. You got expensive taste and you know how to show off, but sometimes you show off too much. Or jaded. You don't have youthful ideas. You're protected from them, but sometimes you're dismissive of new ideas. You're a boomer, in other words. Wizard's Tower. Wizard's Tower. You may be from a Wizard's Tower, even if you are not a wizard. But anyway, skills: Alchemist, your ability to make potions and poultices; Lore Master, what you know about things; Scholar, reading and writing. You can be skeptical, always looking out for deceit, but sometimes you don't trust people who should be trusted; or thoughtful, always think about your decisions. Sometimes you think too much. You can be from a remote village. If you choose to be from a remote village, the remote village you are going to be from is called Skogenby, and we'll get to that later if anyone picks it. But you can pick Carpenter, which is your ability to do woodworking; Peasant, which is farm work; or Weaver, which is your ability to do work with textiles. Your traits would be early riser, early to bed, early to rise, all that shit, but also you go to bed early. Or rough hands. Your hands mark you specifically as someone who works in the fields. Sometimes people might see your hands and think you're like a simpleton. A busy crossroads. If you pick this one, you can do cook, which is literally cooking, which is much more useful than it sounds. Haggler, which is haggling for prices, or rider, riding mounts. You can be foolhardy, going where you shouldn't, to your detriment or to your benefit, or quick-witted. You act without needing to think. Sometimes you act when you should think. And that is all of them. So, yeah. Anyone got any idea of where they want to start? Or which home?
I think I'm probably gonna do the Wizard Tower.
Okay, so Neville, from the Wizard's Tower, which skill are you going to pick?
I'm leaning towards... It can go up to a max of 4, right?
Yup, so if you already have one of them, you're just going to up it by 1.
Yeah, I already have all 3 of these.
Okay.
So yeah, I think I'll boost my Scholar to 4.
Okay, cool. And which trait do you want?
That's what I'm still thinking. I think I want to do... Thoughtful.
But, alright, thoughtful. So Neville, for all of you, you should know that Neville is a thoughtful character.
Nah.
Sanjay, which place were you starting to think?
Either religious, what was Bastion, or the busy crossroads. Can I see the religious Bastion one more time?
This is the religious bastion. You can pick between cartographer, scholar, and theologian, or you can be defender, or you can be scarred by war. And then the busy crossroads, you can pick between cook, haggler, and rider. You can be foolhardy, or you can be quick-witted.
And I set these at level 1, right?
The trait, yeah. If you take the trait, you get it at level 1.
Let's go busy crossroads. I'll do cook and quick-witted.
Okay, so you're going to take cook at a rating of 2 if you don't already have it. And you're going to add the quick-witted trait and set it at a trait rating of a trait level of 1. Alright, Ian, where are you thinking?
Bustling Metropolis, and I'm jaded.
Alright, so you're going to pick jaded. Which skill are you going to pick?
Oh, these are all weird.
You gotta go for sailor. You gotta get that airship.
That doesn't.
Be a steward. Be good at character.
Does not
I hate to
commute.
break it to you guys.
We're not gonna get an airship.
I will note that you guys are in a mountain range. There are ponds that you can sail in, but there are no seas.
Can we get like a tunnel bore instead?
A tunnel board.
What the
Is
fuck
this
is the
like
point of
the-
sailor then?
I mean, if I weren't playing a campaign that was in the middle
Sailing
of
the
fucking mountains, it would be
skies.
useful.
Is this a campaign you made, or is this from like what they
The
supply?
first adventure you play will be the starting adventure that's supplied in the DM guide. After that,
Cool,
it'll
cool.
be complete. I'm basically stuffing it into my world, and then after that, will be in my world.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say the sailor's totally useless. You're gonna find opportunities to sail that might be surprising to you. So if you want,
Is this like a?
Sail lava.
Is this a new
Underground
world,
lake.
or-
Underground lake.
this is a new world. Yeah, it's a totally original. It has almost no connection to other. It has a very.
Oh, you made this world.
Yeah. Yeah, of course I made this world. I'm not gonna play some other person's content.
Yes, I think Adam's always made his own worlds.
Listen, man, I didn't know. I didn't know.
I don't think we've ever had a session in which the DM used like a pre-existing source
Curse of
material.
Strahd.
Yeah, you
Oh,
did
it's Curse of
Strahd.
Straw. That's
I
fair.
remember
That was a
for a while.
though. That's different.
And I've run.
Anyway.
Yeah. So go ahead.
I will
Make a campaign.
Steward.
Steward.
That's
Okay, so you're gonna make Steward at 2,
underwater.
and you are jaded at trait level 1.
Steward is not on the sheet. It's will, right? Will based.
Steward isn't on the sheet?
No.
No way, bro.
There's spots to put new other ones.
Okay, yeah. Steward is will based. There should be more information in the skills reference, so you can grab it just to make sure. I get that's crazy. It's a Torchbearer 2E sheet, not a first edition, so it should be there. All right, whatever. Steve, I think you're last. What do you want?
They just assumed no one was going to ever pick it.
What was the last one?
The last one's called
Mountain.
Busy Crossroads. It's the
Sailor's not there either for once.
Sailor's not there either. Stupid. Whatever.
What would happen if I took quick-witted along with my firstborn trait? I act on instinct without needing to think, but I always take too
No,
long
that's
to
two
think
of us.
about things. And
I'm not gonna stop you, and you could try and roleplay both, but it's up to
You bet.
you on how consistent you want to make your character.
You
What
very
about the one-
quickly think to the wrong.
what was the one before this?
This one's Remote Village.
Remote village. I like this one. Yeah,
Skill.
we'll do remote village.
Mhm.
And
You are only
I will
elf chance
tell
then.
you that Carpenter and Weaver are probably more useful than Peasant, but only by a little bit.
so carpenters for like woodworking and stuff.
Yep.
Weavers for textiles.
Yep.
You're carpenter because Jesus was a carpenter.
And peasant is your farming and building fences
And complaining.
Why is
yep.
that real?
and
Why is
complaining.
it relevant? Because Jesus
Um,
was one of the gods in this game.
yeah, I think I'll probably do weaver.
No.
You'll do Weaver at rank 2, and then which
Yeah.
trait do you want at trait level 1?
As soon as weaver's not on here either.
Okay, go ahead and add it. Shitty ass fucking.
Do you know if it's probably will, right?
I don't actually know. I will find out for you while you
Okay.
pick which trait you want.
Probably early riser. Okay.
Weaver is Will. It is Will.
A.
Alright. That should be everyone's homes. Perfect. Alright. So I think somewhere on your character sheet, I'm gonna look at a character sheet right now. Look at Sanjay's. Oops, that's not Sanjay. Oh, Sanjay, your name is Dante.
Mm-hmm.
Dante Thunder.
So I believe there should be a spot to put your home in the top left. So
Well, village that.
who here didn't pick a bustling metropolis?
Me.
Neville, what'd
Me.
you pick?
I pick Wizard's Tower.
Wizard's Tower. You're going to have to. Do you want me to come? Do you want me to name it now, or do you want to name it yourself?
You can name it.
Okay. Your Wizard's Tower. It's the Silver Tower. Haha. Welcome to the No.
Like a
Perfect.
different color, the copper tower,
The copper tower. A
Um,
knockoff, a spit off.
Your
tin tower.
Neville. Your
Tin
Wizard's
Tower.
Tower is going to be called.
The World Trade Center.
Oh god.
No.
The freedom tower.
Oh my God. All right. Let's see.
Gonna be edgy today, boys.
Let's see. Which one
Let's
do
see.
you want?
Tower name
That's what I-
generator.
Hey! I'm
Tower
already
name
on.
generator.
I'm on it.
That's a
okay?
thing.
Rainbow Tower.
Rainbow Road.
That sounds.
Whoa, this is fucking cool. All right.
Give us a French name, Adam.
A French name. Stop looking at the
Oh,
one I'm
here we go.
looking at.
Mage Tower names.
I can't. La Torre de la Jungle Obscura.
All right. Yeah, this one's good. Neville, you are going to become from a place called the Spire of Atrophy.
I
Can it
like
be the Spire of Entropy?
I like
Sure,
the
it could be the
playful
Spire of
spire.
Entropy. The Spire of
Yeah.
Entropy is where you're from, Neville. Alright, and Steve, you're from a busy crossroads, right?
No, I am from a remote village.
Okay, your remote village is called Skoganby. I'm gonna spell that for you. It is spelled... where's my fucking thing?
Alright, let's see if I got it right.
It is spelled...
That's a weird spelling, dude.
Yeah, I don't know how to spell that, Adam.
Skogenby.
Skogenby. Yep, that will be
Hey, I
your-
got it.
Skogenby. Just so you know, Steve, the first adventure that we will be playing through is based in your hometown.
Oh, awesome.
The adventure is called the Dread Crypt of Skoganby.
Nice.
Is there anyone else who didn't pick somewhere? What did you pick again, Ian?
Boston Metropolis.
Okay, and
I
then
think
Right.
Sanjay did Crossroads.
Busy
Sanjay-
crossroads.
Busy Crossroads.
Oh, wait, so is my wizard's tower in one of these 4 cities, or is it, like,
It's
outside of that?
near one of these 4 cities.
Okay. Can it be near Fallhaven?
Yes, that would make the most sense.
Perfect.
Alright, Sanjay, you're from a busy crossroads, right? So we need to come up with something for you, too.
Helgan.
Helgen?
Hell,
Did you... we can't do that, Sanjay.
Why?
I wonder if Vlad is still making that mead with juniper berries.
Jokes like that all...
What?
We won't do that. We
Winterhold is
won't
already
do
in there, isn't it?
Wait, I'm lost.
Yeah,
What's
Winterhold's
Helgen?
already
They're
there.
talking about
It's a
Skyrim.
Skyrim meme. Dude.
Holy shit, I need to place Winterhold.
I do Helgan as in Killzone Helgan?
No. Wait, how's that spelled?
Wait. Helghan, not ES.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure, you could do that.
No,
I'm
Okay.
still
don't
gonna
let
make the
him.
jokes. I hope
He's
you
still
know.
gonna make the jokes,
Yeah,
Adam.
but this time I won't understand the jokes, so I won't be bothered by them.
That's a different Helgan. Come on.
Whatever Steve said was so incredibly specific.
It's during the first cutscene.
Yeah, that one I know, because I played Skyrim, so I don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
That's
it's
weird,
in the
Juniper
first
berry.
cutscene. So if you're trying to get mods to work, you hear it like 50 times.
Alright, so everyone in their home section, they should have the name of the home, and in parentheses, please put the
Oh, okay.
type as well. So
I'm supposed to
Sanj-
pick Fallhaven or Spring.
Oh,
you're,
gotcha.
yeah,
gotcha.
you're picking either Fallhaven or Spring Hollow. Go ahead and pick whichever one.
I've already forgotten what the type is.
Yours was a remote village.
Remote. I'm gonna put RV.
That's fine.
I live in an
He lives
RV
in
in
an RV.
Skoganby.
Gotcha.
Alright, perfect.
Gotcha.
Alright, let's continue.
No.
Each of you is going to get a skill for your social graces. Basically, you're going to pick your charisma-based skill, but there is no charisma. So, I would recommend that everyone pick something different here, but you don't have to. Because technically speaking, having multiple does mean you can help each other more.
We also already do have somebody that has Haggler, right?
We also
Yeah, I have
we
Haggler
already have a
already.
Haggler, we already have an Orator, we don't have a Manipulator, we don't have a Persuader. So just real quickly, Haggler is specifically for haggling prices. Orator is for talking to big crowds, not specific individuals. If it was
I
an
have Orator.
individual you're talking to, that's Persuader if you're trying to do it nicely, and Manipulator if you're not being as nice. It's deception basically.
Manipulator.
I have Orator.
You have Orator?
Yeah.
So you can,
I
if you want
have
to take it, if you want to take it here, you can up it by 1, up to a max of 4 if you want.
So you can only it's whatever we take by 1, right?
It's if it's a new skill for you, it's a rating of 2. If it's not a new skill, you're upping it by 1. So
Alright,
Sanjay,
got it.
Manipulator should be new for you, so it should be a 2.
Dude,
I'm gonna
gotcha.
take Persuader to 2.
How about you, Steve?
I'm gonna take Manipulator to 2.
Okay, sounds good. Sanjay and
Steve.
Steve at it again, lying to everyone, lying to everything that moves. Alright, now you guys are going to pick a specialty. This particular spot, you will all must pick something different. The rules say so. You're going to choose something from this list. You're going to take it at a rating of 2, or if you already have it, up it by 1. And then, I don't know if there's a spot on your character sheet to actually do this. Let me look. Character sheet. It doesn't look like there's a spot to... Wait, can I click on it? Okay, there's no spot to do this, but technically speaking, one of your specialties is like, I don't know, the skill you're known for. It might not be the thing you're best at, but it's what you're known for. out of this list. So if it was paper, we would underline it. Since it's not paper, just either remember it or put it in your notes somewhere, something like that. But everyone's going to pick something here, set it a rating of 2, or up it by 1 if you already have it. No one can pick the same thing. So cartographer is writing maps. Cook is cooking, which is really useful for extending your rations. Criminal is lockpicking and shit. Dungeoneer is exploring underground or getting through traps. Haggler is haggling prices. Hunter is fighting big game. Manipulator is lying to people. Pathfinder is finding a way overworld. Persuader is persuading people. Order is talking to groups. Rider is riding mounts. Sapper is digging tunnels or building like pit traps and stuff, or even more complicated traps. Scavenger is finding like bits and pieces in like a war, like a battleground or like any other shithole to make useful. Scout is sneaking and tracking people and finding lost item or finding hidden items. Survivalist is like improving camp, finding food and water, things like that. So
I'm gonna do Dungeoneer.
Okay, Neville's picking Dungeoneer. Ian, what do you want?
Does someone have cook already? Cooking?
I don't think so.
Cook.
I don't think so.
I will take.
You're a
I
cook.
said I have cook.
Steve,
Wait,
what about
do
you?
it. Wait, does it have to be a skill that one of us already have, like originally, or is it
No,
something?
you can pick
Okay.
something new here.
Okay.
Hold on.
So I think really quickly, if you want me to go over stuff that I don't think anybody has yet, I don't think anybody has. Does anyone have criminal yet?
I
Yeah,
do.
Sanjay took criminal.
Took it. Okay, then no
Of
one.
course he did.
No one has healer yet, which I think I skipped.
I do.
Oh, you do? Okay, never mind. No one has sapper yet. I think it's the only one on this list that. No
I
one
was
has.
just looking at Sapper. Yeah. Does anybody have cartographer?
Oh.
Oh, really? No one has another useful one then.
I might snag that then.
All right, sounds good.
What's
And
that useful?
Sanjay, what do you want?
Criminal.
Criminal. So you're gonna up your criminal by 1 level, okay?
Sanjay's famous for being a criminal. It's Kieran all over again.
It's every character all over.
Wow.
Every case. But this time I can play to it without feeling bad, okay?
It's Kieran plus.
Sanjay, you didn't feel bad before either.
It's
Rude,
Kieran
but this
plus
time I get
Zamorak.
rewarded for
It's
it.
Kieran, but she can speak. No, it's
Alright.
Zamorak, but he can speak.
And-
Sorry.
Yeah.
Wises are things you know special
Xamarin.
information about. Wises.
Kiroak.
Wises are used to improve your rolls after you roll. You can use them to re-roll failed dice, is what you use for the most part. You can also use them to help other people with their rolls, but it doesn't count as help. It's kind of interesting. It's called aid. It's a little bit different. Anyway, point is, you can use it to help other people or yourself. They're things you know special information about. Everyone's gonna pick one based on their stock first. So I have one fucking elf. So Neville. So Steve, you can pick Elven. You have 3 choices here. You can pick Elven lore, Folly of Humanity, or Folly of Dwarven Kind. So why elves are cool, why humans suck, why dwarves suck.
Ooh, I've got to go with Folly of Humanity, right? I'm in a
Oh,
party with
no.
They
you.
were with humans. Oh, that's very funny.
All right.
How did
I
we?
do think it's funny that elves are just neutral about fucking halflings.
Yeah, they're totally
Yeah.
neutral about it. All right.
Where do I put this? This is
It
wise.
should be in the bottom right. I think there's a spot. For
Ah,
that.
yeah, there we go.
All right. So humans, my humans, and then Steve also. So Steve, you're gonna pick a second one, whatever you want, and humans, you're gonna pick 2 of whatever you want. So I have a
Doesn't
couple.
say choose one if you're making, don't choose a second.
Oh, my bad. Never mind. Humans, you're picking all 4 of you are going to pick 1 wise here of whatever you want. Humans, you don't get a second wise. You're not that wise.
Damn!
These are traits.
Huh? No, these are
No,
not
these
traits.
are
They're called
wises.
wises. They're in the bottom right. So traits are things that you role play. Wises, you don't really always role play. They're just things
It's like
you know
things
about.
that you know, right?
Yeah, huh? So, for example, Steve, what'd you pick? Folly of Humanity.
Like,
Folly of Humanity, yeah.
like you know humans are worse. Got it.
For example, Steve, let's say you come across like an ancient ruin, and you're like, "Hey, Adam, what is this ruin?" And I'm like, "Well, Steve, because of your knowledge of the folly of humankind, I can tell you that this is an old human castle that was destroyed because they blew themselves up with dynamite or something like that. You know?"
What idiots.
So that's what. If you pick, by the way, if you pick a race, so you can see those. Now you guys are all picking a wise of your making. You can pick specific towns, terrains, locations, monsters, groups of people. If you pick a race, you get to know their language too. So if you say you are elf wise, you also speak Elvish. You also, by the way, speak the language of your people anyway. So humans, you don't get an extra language. Steve, you are naturally a speaker of elves,
Okay.
of Elvish. So yeah, or you can be like fire making wise, or you can be like urinalysis wise. I don't know.
Can I choose that?
Is there one for like? I want to do like Lost Ruins. Is that a thing, or is that too broad?
No, Lost Ruins is totally fine.
Archaeologist?
You can be Lost Ruins wise.
Maybe shark wise.
The only things you're not allowed to pick, you can't. There it is. You can't pick game turns. Like you can't be test wise, or you can't be GM wise. Which
I know what
I'm
the GM's gonna
GM-wise.
do.
The book literally tells you don't let your players pick these examples. And you also can't pick anything that's too generic. Like you can't like pick a skill, for example. You can't say you're rider wise. You could say you're horse wise, but not rider wise. You could say you're sword wise, but not fighter wise. Anyway, Neville, you're picking Lost Ruins wise.
Ruins. Yep.
Okay. Steve, you already have Fall of Humanity. What do you want your second wise to be?
Could I do camping wise?
No. So you can't pick anything that's related to the
Dang.
phase of the game.
Oh, okay.
Oh, damn.
So you can't pick adventure wise. You can't pick town wise. You could be
You
specifically
could be
town wise.
hockey wise.
Bonfire wise.
Yeah, can you be like tent building wise?
Yes. you
Yeah,
can be
I meant more like the setting up of camp.
Camp setting wise.
Be more specific, I
You
think.
could be a little bit more specific.
Hammock wise.
Hammock wise. Come back to me.
Okay.
A spot
Ian,
for a
you
hammock.
have an idea yet?
No.
If I do something that's monster wise, does it have to be a specific monster?
It has to be a specific monster.
Dark wise.
So,
This is pretty standard, like Lord of the Rings monster types,
is-
or
Pretty standard fantasy monsters. So
Dude, I could be Goblin Slayer,
I'll
just
just, I'll
Goblin
just tell you
wise.
right now, if you pick a monster and you want to be that wise, and I think it's a bad idea, I will warn you. I'll tell you how good of an idea it is, like how common that monster is if you pick it.
Goblin wise.
Goblins.
their
I
brain
have-
dragon.
Goblins, I have some of, yeah.
Shark wise.
Stop.
I would not.
Sharks
pick
don't exist in this
I would be
universe.
surprised-
Sharks in the mountains, as usual.
Yes, I would be surprised if you ever come against sharks.
Sharks in the underground rivers.
I can only hope, you know. I can spout random facts just for the fun of it, right?
While committing crimes.
They're like millions of years old.
While committing crimes.
Come back to me. I'm gonna think a little bit.
Okay.
Just come
All he
back to
does is talk
everyone.
about sharks.
All right, Steve, I'm back to you now.
Imagine
I'm
not
still
being
trying
able
to
to make a
think of-
decision instantly.
Let me
Well,
help you,
I did
Steve.
make a decision, but then Adam
Well,
said
hold
that I
on, hold on.
couldn't. So
Let me help you, Steve. So you want something that'll be useful during the camp phase, I assume.
I mean, maybe not necessarily useful during the camp phase, but something that's like just I
I don't want to be
know
like an
better
outdoors.
areas to set up camp. Like I know more about like the terrain, that sort of thing. Like, oh, well, we don't want to set up camp on this muddy hill because it's muddy and it's gonna rain tonight and we're all gonna
Sure,
die.
okay. You can
That sort of
be-
thing.
You can be terrain wise. So you can say
Okay.
you are hills wise, or you can say you are caves wise. So,
So you
you're
can
an
be
elf, right, Steve?
I am an elf.
So one of the things, as a ranger, you naturally gain a bonus, I think, to like there's a step in the camp phase where you have to like roll for camp events. Because there's a ranger in the party, every time we roll for camp events when we're in the wilderness, Steve will add a die to that roll, so he'll make it better for you guys automatically. But you would get the same benefit underground if you guys had an outcast in the party, but you do not have an outcast in the party. And I would say of the adventures you guys will do, about half of them will be underground and half of them will be overground. So, Steve, if you wanted to cover the other half, you could be caves wise or like
Mountain
underdark
wise.
wise, mountain wise.
Underdark. So what you're saying is if half are underground and half are above ground, we're not going to have any adventures in the air.
or in the water?
Or the sea.
No, you will not have any adventures in the air and the water.
In midair.
I contest this. We intend to get an airship.
One of the things about Torchbearer is that it runs a very specific kind of game. So,
I'll do mountain wise. I like that.
mountain-wise- Okay, sounds good.
If I do something that's first aid related, does that have to be? Can it be general? Or does it have to be like very specific?
So you can't pick healer wise. So you have to be a
No,
little
no.
bit
But
more
like
specific.
I'm talking like general first aid, like how to do a tourniquet or like how to stop do a dressing properly, stuff like that.
Emergency preparedness. The Boy
Wouldn't that
Scout
just be the
merit
healer
badge.
skill?
Yeah, that's too close to the healer skill, Sandra. I would need you to pick something a little bit more specific, like burn wise or broken bone
Could he do like
wise.
anatomy?
I do bleeding wise.
He can do like human anatomy. Yeah, bleeding wise, you can do that. You could do like lacerations wise.
No,
Stitches
Sanjay
wise?
would be
Yeah,
a
stitches
proctologist.
Yeah, let's do stitches because I feel like some ease.
Stitches.
Yeah, sure. Stitches, we can once again, like when we actually play, like I will try my best to be like pretty lenient about the wise use because they're pretty limited on how you can use them anyway. So it's not like you can break the game with a really good busted wise.
All right, time to do.
All right, Ian, you're last.
Do we do like foraging? Can I be?
Berry wise,
I don't know if I want berries. I was thinking mushrooms, but that also feels kind of weird.
broom wise.
You can be mushroom wise. That's not a bad.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
shroom high.
Imagine picking.
Let's do
Imagine
it.
picking
I'll do
things that are
mushroom wise.
useful.
Cool. Wow, that is a really funny and wide variety of wises.
I'll get us high, guys.
We have lost. So we have lost ruins. We have folly of humanity and what was the other one? Steve?
Mountains.
Mountains, and then we have stitches and mushrooms.
I love the mushrooms. It's so
It's
good.
good.
That's crazy.
Dude, you never know. It will
More
probably
like bitches.
dude. It probably will come in handy.
I'm sure.
Sorry.
Actually, I'm sure it will come in handy. All right. We're gonna talk about nature now. Nature is probably the most complicated thing in this game, so I'm gonna try and be a little bit slow about it. So nature is an ability, just like will or health. It's the third ability that we're talking about that you've got. It's got a rating from 0 to 7. It's also got descriptors attached to it. So I think if we look at your character sheets, I'm gonna open up Dante here, my boy. Let's just keep
Dante and Fiona.
never mind. Dante's not opening. I'm gonna open up Ian. Show his tab. There we go.
I'm just too.
So if you look at the top here, you've got nature, 1 out of 1, and then you've got 3 spots for descriptors. Your nature is always described by 3 phrases. They sound like traits, but they're just words, and they're open-ended as to their meaning, okay? Your nature is important because you use it for a fuckload of things. Everyone go ahead and start your nature at 3 out of 3. Everyone's got a nature rating of 3 to start out with, and we're going to adjust those numbers as we do some questionnaires. Nature is your sense of self as your race. So for Steve, it's his elvish nature, and for the rest of you, it's your human nature. It is one important thing you should know. So what nature is used for is, let's say you want to do a test and you are shit at that thing, and you really need to pass. You can use your nature to benefit you, and the higher your nature is, the better it'll benefit you. And if whatever you're doing fits within your nature's descriptors, then it's practically for free. And if it doesn't, then you can still do it, but there's a cost to it. Another thing is, what's it called? Learning new skills. The higher your nature is, the harder it is to learn adventuring skills. Basically, the higher your nature is, the more you are like a regular person of your stock and not an adventurer. So if you have a nature of 6, you will find it difficult to learn new skills. If you have a nature of 1, you will find it very easy. Oh, and we'll get to learning new skills later. Notably, your nature can get you killed or retired. If your nature can go up and down. It can go up the normal way other skills do by passing and failing tests, and it can go down when you use it to your benefit too much, basically. If your nature gets to 7, you become too much like the rest of your stock, and you go retire to your home, basically. Humans, they go back to their walled cities. Elves, you go back to sleep in your elf homes. Even if you're not originally from an elf home, you would probably seek one out and then go to sleep, Steve. If your nature hits
Sounds
0,
nice.
the adventuring life has taken its toll on you, and you are now a slobbering mouth breather, and you fuck off into the woods, never to be seen again.
The epitome of a murder hobo.
Yep. So, that is something that can get you tired. Now, when we actually play the game, you will see how nature works more. So really quickly on the screen here, we have your descriptors. So Steve, you have a nature of 3 out of 3. And your starting descriptors, and these can change with the questionnaires we're about to do, your starting descriptors are singing, remembering, and hiding. And you'll note, they sound like traits, but they don't actually have any descriptions attached to them. So singing
And I
means,
put those in my nature descriptions here.
Yep, So singing is open-ended. You are a person who sings when maybe when you want to for entertainment, or when you feel stressed out, you might sing, things like that, you know?
Okay.
Remembering is memories are important to you, and remembering things is important to you, like maintaining memories and respecting memories. And hiding. When shit hits the fan, you might fucking find a rock to hide behind. And my humans, you are boasting, demanding, and running. Boasting, obviously, you guys brag a lot. Demanding, you expect other people to listen to you or give you what you want. And running means that you will turn tail and run if the going gets too tough. Now these will change, but right now I want you to write these 3 down. So my humans have those 3 at the bottom, and then Steve, you've got yours.
Yep.
Alright, so we're going to do questionnaires. They're basically personality quizzes, and these personality quizzes are going to either increase your nature, starting rating, or adjust some of your descriptors, or give you new wises, or give you new traits. So I'm going to do the elf one first. We'll skip past the dwarf questionnaire and go to the elf questionnaire. So Steve, your character. Right now, you probably don't have the greatest idea of it, so this personality quiz will help you shape the idea, okay? So, this is word for word what it says in the book. Have you learned the songs of creation, and do you sing them to mend hearts and calm storms, or do you focus your ancient will into crafting works of unparalleled beauty? If you sing ancient songs, your nature will increase to 4. If you bend your will to craft elven artifacts, you are going to replace the singing descriptor with enchanting, and you enchant items instead.
I sing ancient songs.
Very well. Increase your nature by 1. When evil stalks the world, do you confront it, or do you retreat to the hidden places of the elves and allow time to defeat your enemies? If you confront evil, your firstborn trait will rise to level 2, and if you retreat and hide, increase your nature by 1. What increasing to level 2 means, traits can use beneficially for yourself once per session. If you have it at level 2, you can use it twice per session for yours beneficially instead. So
I will confront evil.
Confront evil. Firstborn trait goes to level 2. Do you yearn to follow the gulls to the sea and journey west beyond all knowledge, or are you prepared to live a life of struggle and grief? If you yearn to journey west, increase nature by 1. If you are prepared to struggle, you may replace this trait that you picked for your home trait, which I believe was, what, quick-witted?
No, it was early riser.
Early riser. You may replace that with either fiery, curious, or restless. I think those start on page 177 and it moves alphabetically. If you have one of these already, you would increase it straight by 1, but you don't. So if you want to, go ahead and take a brief moment while I'm talking to the other guys to read those to see if you like any of them and you want to replace your early riser trait. And if you don't want to replace your early riser trait, your nature's going up by 1. You good?
Yep.
Alright. Humans.
Mm-hmm.
Do you sit by the hearth at night, drinking and boasting of your great deeds, or do you spend those chill nights quietly preparing for the dark times to come? If you drink and boast, please increase your nature by 1. And if you quietly prepare, increase the trait that you've obtained from your class to level 2. So for each of you, that's a different trait.
Okay.
Now, what are you doing?
I'm increasing my wizard sight to level 2.
Ian, what about you?
The second one.
Second one, quietly prepare. What about you,
Yeah.
Sanjay?
First one.
Drink and boast. When the elves and
Is nature
dwarves-
on here, by the way, or no?
Yes. Look at the top, Sanjay. It says nature 1 out of 1. You should have it
Oh,
saying
right.
nature 3 out of 3.
Right.
And it should say boasting, demanding, what's the last
Running.
one? Running. Do you have that, Sanjay? You good?
Yeah, no, I see it now. I changed it, don't worry.
Alright, good. So now, Sanjay, you're 4 out of 4. When the elves and dwarves voice their concerns, do you demand to be heard as an equal, or do you bow to your head and listen to the wisdom of your elders? If you demand your rights, increase your nature by 1. If you listen to the wisdom of your elders, you may take a second wise, elf wise, dwarf wise, or a politics wise.
First one for me.
First one for you, okay, Neville?
I think I want to be elf-wise.
Elf wise? How about you, Ian?
1 sec, I was writing stuff.
Sure.
Hey, wait, let me think.
Keep in mind, if you pick elf-wise or dwarf-wise, you will also be able to speak the language of the elves or dwarves, respectively.
Yeah, that's like something I would have.
Wait, for the first question, what is it with the quietly prepare thing?
Uh-huh.
What does it mean increase your class trait to level 2?
So you have the trait you got from your class. As a warrior, you got, look at your traits. The first one you chose. Heart of
Valor?
Battle, right?
Battle.
Yeah.
So that would go to level 2 instead of staying at level 1. Level 2 means you can use it twice beneficially to give yourself an extra dice for a test.
What does Heart of Battle do?
It's like Heart of Battle means that like when you role play, it's like a role playing feature. You can role play a test as being like, oh, I'm jumping into battle with valor and courage, and sometimes violence is my first option when it should be my second. Remember?
Actually, can I switch my first question then?
Yeah, sure. Do you want to quietly prepare instead?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Go ahead and increase Heart of Battle to level 2.
For the second
Just
one,
trying to think of how my character would react at this
Sure,
point.
yeah.
I'm doing demand to be heard as equal.
Demand to be heard as an equal. Okay, so your nature increased by 1. Last question. Would you flee from hordes of goblins, beasts, and monsters who prey on civilization, or will you plunge into their midst, questing for glory? If you flee and hide, increase your nature by 1. If you fight, replace the trait you've gotten from your home with loner, foolhardy, or defender. Those traits their descriptions start on 177, and continue onwards alphabetically. If you don't feel like doing the reading, I would suggest increasing your nature by 1 here. But it's not that much reading. I don't know.
When we increase nature by 1, it's like changing it to 4/4.
Yeah, 4/4, 5/5, etc. Don't let it hit 7. Otherwise, your character dies during character creation.
You can only get to 3 here.
You retire
Six,
during
six,
character.
yeah. Yeah, you would be forced to retire your character immediately. It's like, all right,
All right, make a new one. Good idea. They're done.
Character death, any percent speedrun?
So was it defender?
I think
Foolhardy and-
defender is like you know the value of defending your home, but sometimes that's too important to you and you lose sight of other goals. Loner is like you are okay with being alone, but sometimes you choose to be lonely when you should look for support or something like that. Foolhardy, I don't fucking remember what that one is. I think it's like you put yourself in danger to your detriment or your benefit all the time.
I'll do loner.
You'll do loner. Okay, so you're gonna replace your home trait. So whatever you got from your home, you're replacing.
Quick-witted to loner, right?
Yep. And it stays at trait level 1. Ian, what'd you end up picking? Nature?
I don't like the traits is the problem.
What about you, Neville? You know what you're picking?
I increased my nature.
Increased your nature. Okay.
I am but a coward.
Yes.
Okay, I'm doing nature too.
Okay, nature 2. Alright, cool.
Hey, cowards together.
Let's see, what did you end up picking from that last question?
I yearned to journey west and increased my nature by 1.
Got it. So everyone's done the questionnaire now, right? No one's still reading the traits to find one they like. I think we're good across the board. All right, circles. Circles is an ability just like your will and your health, but you only use it in towns. It's an ability you use to find contracts, or friends, or information in town, etc. So we are going to answer another set of questionnaires. Everyone's going to do this questionnaire, and it's going to define what our starting circles rating is. Everyone, right now, your circles rating, which is at the top of your page, should be at 1. Yeah, it's a 1. All right, perfect. So that can go up as a result of this questionnaire. Is there anyone who's confused about what circles means? All right, good.
What
alright.
was what was
It's your connections.
It's how,
Okay,
it's
okay,
how
yeah.
connect. The higher your circles are, the more connections you have, the more friends you have in town.
It's LinkedIn, but for this game.
It's LinkedIn.
Yeah.
All right. First question: do you have friends who enjoy your occasional visits? This is like friends in town, or are you a loner, tough and cool? If you have a friend, you're going to add a circle, and you're going to write down a friend's name, hometown, and profession. I believe there's a tab for this on your character sheet.
It's relationships, yeah.
Yes, if you go to relationships, you can add a new one, etc., etc. Sorry, Ian, for flicking around on your character sheet. So yeah, if you have a friend, you get +1 to your circles, so you'll be at circles 2. And you will write down your friend's name, their hometown, and their profession. If their profession is adventurer, please choose their class and their specialty. Their level is always equal to yours, and they level up when you do. They're just as good as you are. And also write down the last place that you remember seeing them. That could be a generic piece of information, like in town, out in the wilderness, or it could be a specific piece of information, like at Fallhaven, or fucking your mother, I don't know, like, whatever. If you are a loner, your circle starts at 1, and you have an enemy. You will write down the enemy's name. If you pick this, let me know, because I will pick the class. Their level is always 1 higher than yours. And they're always an adventurer too. They'll always be the same type of adventurer you are as well. Then you're done the rest of these the rest of this questionnaire. You're gonna take the loner trait at level 1, or increase it by 1 if you already have it. And you'll skip the rest of these questions.
Okay, I'll
I
do
pick
loner.
loner.
Oh fuck! I was gonna bite the bullet. Don't do it.
You can all be loners if you want.
No.
Why not? We need enemies.
Alright, Ian, which one are you picking?
Loner.
Loner? Now you're picking loner as well?
Mm-hmm.
Sanjay, which one are you picking?
Skip me for now.
Skip
Go
you
to
for now.
Steve.
Steve, what are you picking?
I'll have a friend.
You'll have a friend? Okay, cool. Sanjay, what are you picking?
I'm thinking.
Do you want an enemy or a friend?
I want both.
You can have both. Pick
I
a
think you
friend.
can have both, yeah, if you just
Yeah.
pick a friend.
Oh really?
Yeah, you can have both. If you want both, pick the friend for this question. There's a later question
Alright.
that asks about an enemy.
All right, friend. It is.
Alright, so Sanjay, your circle starts at 2. Please come up with a name, a hometown, and a profession for your friend. You can do that
Profession
later.
as is like a.
It's like, are they a cook? Are they a ranger?
Oh, gotcha.
Do they
Oh, perfect.
shovel shit?
I DM it to you, or how do I do this? Or
If you
relationship,
go to your,
right?
Yeah, go to relationships, hit add, and then you should have some options there to work with.
Yeah, it'll
And
give
this
you
is,
name,
uh,
location, status, and notes.
All right, so they're gonna be a blacksmith for sure. That would be under status, right, for occupation.
Profession.
profession.
No, I think status is dead or alive. Put the profession
Oh.
under notes, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
status.
status.
All of you should pick an alive friend or enemy at this point.
Status isn't like enemy.
Does the location have to be one of the
maybe
areas? That...
actually, is it a drop down menu? What is it?
No,
it's just text.
I'm just gonna put friend and alive under
never mind.
status.
In that case, actually, no. In that case, just put whether it's a friend, an enemy, a parent, or a mentor.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. We'll use stats for that. Yeah.
What does it mean by profession?
What job do they do? What do they do for money?
Okay.
Location doesn't have to be one of the locations we described earlier.
It can be one of the towns I've given you. It can be a generic ass place like in town. In my
Could be our
In
hometown.
town.
Yeah, you can say in my hometown.
Okay, I'm just gonna type my hometown name then.
Yeah, perfect.
And then the name. We'll name this Beef Pinups.
Halfling name generator.
Alright.
This is a friend, I thought.
Yeah, this is a friend. Wasn't Beef Pancakes an enemy in the original Barbs?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Could be a friend here. You don't know.
Could be a friend. I guess he's turned his ways.
Or maybe we're playing the evil party.
Facts.
Do I have to put first last name or just first name, or
Just
how
put a
does that
first
work?
name. Just put a first name. Don't worry about a last name.
Got it.
Very, very few people in the world of Torchbearer really run with a last name very often. Is there anyone who's still working on this first relationship? Okay, good.
Nope.
Next question. If you picked loner, you're skipping the rest of these questions. So from now on, just Steve and Sanjay.
Yeah, get
Parents. Do you have parents you can stomach talking to, or are you an orphan or estranged from your parents? If you have parents, go ahead and take +1 to your circles. Write down your parents' names, their family name, and choose a profession for each of them. And if you're an orphan, instead, you're going to have a keepsake from your parents that is worn around your neck or on one hand. So it's going to be like a ring or a necklace or something. Go ahead and go to your... If you pick that option, you'll go to kit. You'll click on either hands or neck. Type in what the keepsake is, like mother's necklace or something like that. And then I guess you could probably describe it somewhere. I don't fucking know. Or you could just write it down. I don't need a description. So,
Just
Sanjay,
mother's,
do you
like,
want
I'm gonna do the
parents?
orphan.
Orphan. Okay, so you have a keepsake. It's gonna be so on your inventory, on your kit tab.
Oh
Yeah.
god.
Go ahead and pick either a neck item or a worn on your hand item, and type in like mom's ring, dad's brooch, something like that. You know.
Let's do.
I think that Sanjay definitely killed his parents.
Dad's shark tooth necklace.
No, stop. Mother's ring.
Okay.
Oh, I was gonna do a ring too.
You can both do rings. It's okay.
Your parents were the same.
Can I do fathers and Penny Cotland?
Your dad was Thanos.
It is a hand item, right?
For the record, you don't actually have to wear it on your hand. You can put it in your invent bag too. It is worth money. It is one. You'll note that you'll see that my PowerPoint says it is worth 1D of treasure. In this game, there's not really there is gold and silver and copper coins, but we don't actually track how many silver and copper coins and stuff you have. Instead, all the treasure you have has a value rated in dice. And sometimes you spend that treasure to add dice to certain rolls. So, your mother's ring is worth 1D of treasure. And describing its sentimental value, I'll let you guys figure that out later. Alright, Steve and Sanjay, we will continue. Did you have a mentor, or did you make your own way in this rough life? If you have a mentor, you're going to add +1 to your circles. Your mentor is a 7th level adventurer of the same class as you. You're going to write down their name. If you're a magician, you must select this option. So you're fine. You don't have to select this option. Neville, you're fine, because you're skipping this question.
All right, I'm gonna make
never
my
mind.
way.
Neville, you can't skip this question. I forgot. Magician, right, Neville?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. You have to have a mentor because that's where you get new spells from. Neville, you're making a mentor. Go ahead and add +1 circles, and come up with a name, and write it down. Steve and Sanjay, you can pick a mentor of the same class, or you can make your own way in life. If you do, go ahead and toss 2D of treasure onto your belt. It's a pouch.
Would I just 2D treasure to what I put?
I think it's like gold coins. So like, how does it look? Let me look at belt. How does this work? Does it like
Let's do gold coins 2D.
Do we need to make a satchel to put it in?
No. Satchels and backpacks are something separate. This is going on a pouch on your belt. So it's gonna have it basically has belt 1. This pouch. So I guess what you could do is you could
put pouch and then in parentheses put the
2D,
pouch of 2D coins. Yeah.
2D coins.
They're really
Not 3D
flat.
coins.
I'll say they're not 3D coins.
Yeah, they're really flat. 2D gold coins actually is what it is. But anyway, all right. Everyone good on this question? We have one more question to go.
Yes.
All right. Sanjay and Steve. Did you guys both pick the second option for the mentor question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No mentor.
Okay, good. So you can answer this last question. All right. Have you made an enemy in your life? If you have made an enemy, you may add +1 circles and write down their name, and I'll pick their class and their level. And if you haven't made an enemy, do nothing.
Yes, I've made an enemy.
And I skipped this one, right?
Yeah. Huh.
I also have an enemy.
His name is Levi.
Okay. So let me go ahead and does everyone here have an enemy?
Except Neville, I think, right?
I do.
Neville has one too.
Oh, I thought you said you didn't.
All right, Neville.
No, I do. Yeah.
Your enemy is going to be a Theurge. And their level is 1 higher than yours. You don't have to write that down, but write down their Theurge, please.
Okay.
Ian, your Theurge. So your enemy is going to be a warrior. And you should have come up with the name on. You can come up with the name on your own. Steve, you're a ranger.
Mm-hmm.
So your enemy is going to be an outcast. And Sanjay, you're a warrior. Your enemy is going to be... Your enemy's going to be a burglar.
Yeah.
Alright, cool. We are done circles. Starting resources. You have a resources ability, just like your circles or your will or your health. It starts at 0 because you're adventurers, which means you're poor as fuck. Resources is cool. Let me describe how this works, because you guys will think this is interesting. So, resources is a general measure of your wealth. If you want to buy something, you roll resources. And if you succeed the roll, you get the item completely for free.
What?
You don't spend anything. If you fail the roll, your resources ability, you get the item still, but your resources ability gets taxed, which means it goes down. You lose levels in it, like permanently. But you can insulate yourself from this tax by spending treasure as you buy things. So let's say, for example, you want to buy a sword, and it costs it's got an obstacle of 1 for its price, and you have resources 2, so you roll 2 dice. You get a 0. Well, you're going to be taxed by the margin of failure, which in this case is 1. So your rating resources of 2 would go down to 1. You tried to buy it for free and you failed. Now instead, you could buy it. When you buy it, let's say you spend your mother's ring for a sword, and that way you've spent 1d of treasure. That will insulate you from 1 point of tax. So let's say you spend that 1d of treasure, you add a dice to your roll, so you roll 3 dice, and let's say you still all fails. Well, you still get your sword, and you're insulated from that 1 point of tax. It just wasn't a free sword. So, if you feel like you're a lucky guy, you can get tons of shit for free. And
So this is gacha.
And never spend any of your treasure.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
But reversed.
But anyway, everyone's got resources of 0. Early on, you will find the ways to get it up to 1 initially are a little bit complicated, but we won't talk about it right now. Also, resources is how you pay for your taxes at the end of the town phase. It's very important in that sense. Alright, cool. Okay, here's the part where you guys are going to start a big discussion with yourselves. Let's take a quick...
Like internally with our own selves, or
No,
like with each other?
With each other.
Okay.
Let's take a quick, 5-minute break or something.
Bio break.
Bio break, go ahead and use the bathroom, because this part's going to be a longish discussion.
Right.
While
Tea time.
Yeah, go ahead and go pee, grab some more water.
Tea. It's a tea.
Yeah, go grab tea, whatever you need to do. I need to make sure I know what kind of guidance to give you guys on this section.
Guidance? You're gonna give me guidance?
Yes.
No. I'm hyped for this, by the way. I'm gonna kill somebody.
Same. I'm looking forward to when you kill somebody.
Perfect. I'll be back.
You'll be back. What does that mean? Ah, okay, I see. Post-break roll call. Neville.
I'm here.
Oh, okay, I see you sitting there, bitch. Ian?
Yeah.
Sanjay? That's a no. Steve? That's also a no. Alright, we're just waiting for Sanjay and Steve and then we can start again. I have both my Magician and my Theurge here, don't I?
You do.
Boys.
What's up?
Hang on. Since this didn't come up, can I have a child that has been taken from me?
A child that has been taken from you.
They're not
yes.
really a relation.
Yes.
Or sorry, they're a relation, but they're not really a circle.
Yeah, or relation but not really a circle. You may additionally add that, yeah, uh-huh.
Can I have an old mentor who disowned me?
An old, yeah, but you have to have a current mentor too.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can have an old mentor who disowned you, sure. You guys can add extra relations, sure. That's fine. I'll tell Sanjay and Steve they can do something similar too. Just so you know, the ages, what are you eating, a human?
Yeah.
I think the age range of what you can play is like 14 to like 22. So if you have a child, it's gonna be a young fucking child.
That's a,
It's gonna be...
actually, since the text box supports it, I'm gonna be -20.
I can't be older than 22? I guess I could be grad school. Alright,
Yes, I
that
shall
works.
be 22.
Yeah, no one's playing super old people in this campaign. At least
Can
not-
I be
at least not the first time. I want to
25?
stay within the rules, at least the first time, and then we'll
Yeah.
later down the line, you know?
I was a prodigy and I got into grad school early.
Alright, let's do some starting spell books for my wizard and starting shit for my Theurge while we wait for the non-casters. Alright, Neville, ready? Magicians begin the game with a spell book granted to them by their mentor that contains the spells that they know, which are based on their mentor's specialty.
Hi, I'm back.
Welcome back. We're just waiting. I'm just doing something with my casters while I wait for you and while we wait for Sanjay.
Okay.
Neville, you're gonna roll 2d6 on the table you see on my stream, and you're gonna take what you roll, I guess, if that's okay with you.
Okay.
All right, go ahead and roll.
7.
You are a transmutation specialist. You will take a go ahead and add a spell book somewhere to your inventory. Put it in like a hand slot for now. Later you'll move it. Your spell book contains. You'll have to put these notes somewhere. It contains Dwemercraft, Lightness of Being, and Word of Binding. Keep in mind, at any given time, you would only have one of these memorized because you are.
How do I add notes to this?
That's a good question. Kit.
Or should I put under magic?
Oh, is there a magic section? Holy shit.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a magic tab.
Yeah. Put it under.
Well,
under magic.
For the spells?
They are called Dwemercraft, Dweomer craft, Lightness of Being, and Word of Binding.
Okay.
So you can find more information on page 183 and onwards about what these spells do, and I think you should take the time now to just look at it while we wait for Sanjay. And now, Ian, we'll do you. Ian, you're going to start out with a relic, and these relics tell you what invocations you can cast. You're a conduit for divine power, and the relic is a very, very necessary component to channel that power safely. You technically can cast invocations that you don't have a relic for, but it's a dumb idea. Well, it's not a dumb idea. No, it's a pretty dumb idea. You can do it, but you probably shouldn't. You're going to go ahead and roll 3d6 for me.
9.
9. You have a pair of wooden toy oxen fitted with a yoke and a silver lancet.
What on earth?
So that's,
Okay.
that's two separate relics. The first one, the wooden toy oxen, is for the Blessing of the Lord of Labor invocation, and the silver lancet is for the Balm of the Lords of Serenity invocations. You can see page 209 and onwards to try and find them. They both start with a B, they shouldn't be too hard to find. Go ahead and put that underneath your rituals tab and information and stuff. Write them down.
Cool.
So
Dwemercraft is used to create tools.
Oh, I thought it was used to create dwarves.
both of those relics need to go somewhere in your inventory for now. Right, for now, put them in your hands. We'll move them later.
There's a relics section.
Oh, there's a relic
Under
section.
magic.
Okay.
Yep, it's under the magic tab.
But I'm pretty sure you still have to.
I can fly.
I think.
You say you can fly?
It's more like levitate, but yes, that's lightness and beam.
Nice.
I can ascend.
Let me check this really fast. Spellbook. A spellbook has an inventory of pack 2. It has to go into a pack. So Neville, you will have to take a pack when we do inventory selection later of some sort. You will have to take either a satchel or a backpack.
Mm-hmm.
And for you, I would probably recommend taking a backpack, but we'll get to that later. I'll explain why later. And relics.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back. Let me double check this really fast. I do not know how heavy a relic is. Well, relics must have a size of pocket, which means you can stuff them. You can either put them both in the pocket, or you can put one in the pocket and one in a pouch in your belt. Once again, we'll get to that later. Those relics have to go somewhere, but we'll figure that out later. Alright, everyone's back. Let's do this. Alrighty then, where's my Discord? Here it is. Let's see. Alright. Part of this game, and part of the difficulty of playing this game, is tracking your inventory. In D&D and Bards, we never track our inventory. We don't give a fuck what's in there, right? We don't care about carrying capacity. In Torchbearer, the entire system is designed from the ground up with the inventory and carrying capacities in mind.
Well, you were talking to the inventory master right here,
Exactly,
so...
there you go. All of you start with a well-worn set of clothes, which will not be listed on your inventory, a belt, which isn't listed on your inventory as an item, but has slots on it. They don't require inventory slots. I'm going to show you some tables which show all the starting gear you can choose from. Some things can be... a piece of gear can have 3 different inventory sizes. It can either be... and it'll be a word and a number. So worn 1 means that you can wear it in a specific slot. Perhaps you can wear it on your neck or your hand. And 1 means it takes up 1 of the worn slots on your hand. If you look at your character sheet and you look at kit... sorry if you're in the middle of doing stuff on Magic again. If you look at kit, you can see that your hands have both worn slots and carried slots. So you can wear a ring and carry a bucket. Your head has a worn slot, your neck has a worn slot, your torso has multiple worn slots. Your feet have a worn slot to wear your shoes, and you've got a little pocket to toss some extra shit in.
Nice.
And a belt has some worn slots. A belt has some slots to put pouches or water skins. This looks like a very limited inventory. You will be able to slightly expand it by using containers such as satchels or backpacks, which we'll get to in a second. But anyway, so a thing can be worn. So if it says worn 1, it has to be worn, and it can be worn anywhere. If it says pack 1, it has to be put in a container like a pouch or a backpack. It takes up 1 slot in that pouch or backpack. And if it says carry 1, it means it has to be carried, and with your hands, and you have 2 carry slots. If it says carry 2, you have to use both your hands to carry it. If it says carry 4, it means 2 people have to use both their hands to carry it. Most items will have multiple options. It'll say worn 1, pack 1, or carried 1, pack 2. And you'll find that usually the numbers don't match up. So something might be more efficiently worn than it is carried. Weapons, I think, are very frequently like this. So you're going to pick between a satchel or a backpack. There's no reason you would not pick either a satchel or a backpack. A satchel has 3 additional slots. The satchel itself is worn on your torso, and so is the backpack. And a satchel has 3 slots, a backpack has 6 slots. You pick the satchel if you're not going to use fighter or dungeoneer very much. You pick the backpack. Sorry, you pick the satchel if you are going to use fighter or dungeoneer a lot. If you're almost never going to use fighter or dungeoneer or don't have those skills, I would strongly recommend taking a backpack. I would strongly recommend taking a wine skin to fill with wine. Magicians, you have to find a spot to put a spell book, which has an inventory size of pack 2. Which means you have to find something to put it in, like a satchel or backpack. Dayagers would carry 2 holy relics, which are the size of pocket. You could put both of them in your pocket. You could put one of them in your pocket, one of them somewhere else.
Ian's just going to be walking around with two little bowls in his pocket.
The way pocket works is it can store one small item, but then also if you can stuff more stuff into it, but then like I can use a twist of if you put more than one thing in your pocket, one of the twists that become available to me is something falls out of your pocket. So technically speaking, it's risky to put more things in your pocket, but you can if you want. I probably wouldn't put relics, like 2 relics in there. Like I'd probably be a little bit worried about that. Like losing a relic is a big deal, but like if it was like random crap, you could put it in your pocket, whatever.
Mint.
So you can find more detailed information about each item on DG 148. If you have the book open, I would go to 148 now. You're going to reference it a lot in this section. Here is your starting gear that you can start with. You can see that it's the list of it's the item name and the inventory slots. Well, most of these items do what they say that they do, but a lot of them might require more information. Like for example, it says the backpack is either worn on the torso and takes 2 slots on the torso, but it doesn't tell you what the backpack is. So I can answer some questions. You guys can do some research on page 148 or onwards. Go ahead and ask me. Some suggestions. Keep in mind, inventory management is part of the game, and you guys are playing as a team, and you guys will need to bring certain types of resources for yourself or for other people. You will need the 2 things you will need, or 3 things you will need: food and water, which both functionally are the same. So that's why I'm telling everyone they should take 1 water skin, which has a size of, you can see water/wine skin it's belt 1 or pack 1, and it holds 1 drow. I would probably carry that because you can carry multiple if you want, but I would probably at least carry 1 because you will find it useful. You technically could not carry 1 if you wanted to, but there might be situations where you might need liquid refreshment specifically. So yeah. Water or wineskin you should definitely take, and it automatically comes full. Rations. You're going to need rations. You can see here that there are fresh rations and preserved rations. I'm going to tell you guys right now, you should just pick preserved rations. I don't actually understand why fresh rations exist.
It tastes better.
From what I understand, you can take fresh rations and turn them into preserved rations, but functionally speaking, preserved rations seem, for all intents and purposes, more useful because it's 1 extra portion per pack slot. So I would recommend taking at least 3 preserved rations, take a wineskin, and I would also recommend taking 1 of your 3 light options. Your light options are candles, which produce light for a single person for 4 turns, which is the longest amount of time. Torches, which produce light for 2 people for, I want to say, 2 turns. Or lanterns, which produce light for 3 people over 3 turns. I think that's correct. So you're going to want to carry, not everyone needs light, but if you're not bringing light, you better make sure someone else is bringing either a torch or a lantern for you.
And how can we take as much as we can carry at this point, or is there a limit?
So I want you guys to fill your inventories. Leave, for those of you who use weapons and or a shield, leave your hands carried slots open, but everything else fill it up. Go ahead.
Okay.
Now's your chance to start talking to each other.
And specifically just with stuff from this starting gear table, right?
Just with, yeah. Later we're gonna pick weapons, but for now you're just gonna pick just stuff from these tables. Go ahead and grab, fill your inventories to the brim.
Question.
Yeah.
Backpack, you said, is necessary if you're going to be using a lot of your fighter skills, correct?
No, it's the opposite. So satchels,
other way.
Satchels have less slots, but they don't negatively impact your fighter or your dungeoneer tests.
It literally
I'm going to be taking satchel, I think.
It literally says in the book, though, that that backpack... Does backpack did 6 knocks? Wearing a backpack count as a factor in fighting an enemy?
Yeah, factors are negative. Anytime you see the word factor, a factor is defined by the book as a addition to the obstacle of a test. The way as a GM I build up the obstacle of a test is I take a bunch of factors and I add them up. So if you are going to do fighter or dungeoneer a lot, take a satchel.
Yeah, so in that case I'm going to do satchel.
But what's it called? My wizard, my theurge, you guys should probably take a backpack. My ranger, you can kind of go either way. Sanjay should almost definitely probably, he's a fighter through and through, he should he's going to be leading a lot of attack-based options, so he should definitely probably take a satchel. Now you can take a backpack, and in situations where you might negatively be affected by it, like fighter or dungeoneer task, you can drop your backpack on the ground temporarily.
Gotcha.
Whether it'll still be there when the fight is over is a totally different question. It is not the safest thing in the world to set down your backpack on the ground in the middle of a fight.
Hey, by the way, does a ring, if I wear the ring on my hand as a warm option, can I not equip something in that hand then? Because that's actually something that's kind of questionable.
It takes up a worn slot, but I'm gonna tell you right now, the worn slots in your hands are basically only for rings, you might wear a ring of some value there, because you might let's say you fight.
Oh, okay. I was looking at the worn and the carried. I got confused there. My bad.
Uh-huh. Carried is where you're gonna put your weapon and your shield if you take one, Sanjay, or your two-handed weapons.
I should carry my spellbook.
Yes, you can carry your spellbook. Wait, can you carry your spellbook? No, you can't.
Like
carry your
Rise.
spellbook.
Oh no.
You cannot carry your spellbook because look at the table. It's only got pack 2 as its inventory slots. You have to use pack. Basically, the idea is you would never carry around something as valuable as your spellbook out in the open.
Gotcha.
Okay, so let's go ahead and fill the inventory then. I'll do a cloak for one torso.
Once again, at least 3 rations. Probably bring a wineskin and some sort of light source. If you're not bringing one, better make sure some party member is covering for you.
Gotcha. Okay.
When you say 3 rations, do you mean like 3 portions or 3 instances of preserve?
3 instances of preserved rations, 9 portions total.
Got it.
Now, if you have a cook, so the way portions work is, every time you become hungry and thirsty, I'm going to ask you either to take a draught of or to cure it, you're going to have to either take a draught of your wineskin or eat one of your rations, a portion of your rations. That means everyone will, every 4 turns basically, everyone's going to be consuming a portion of their rations. Technically speaking, if you have a cook on board and you're camping, a cook can take 1 portion of a ration and feed 4 people with it.
We do have a cook, right?
Yes, but that you can only do that when you're camping. So when you're out and about and you become hungry and you just want to take a quick bite to get rid of that condition, you can't camp every time you become hungry. So having a cook is valuable, but not so valuable that it completely eliminates the need for stockpiling food. Also keep in mind, those of you who have the survivalist skill, you guys can scavenge for food and water. But how often will you be able to do that?
Yeah, I have survivalist 3.
That's a toss-up. How often you'll be able to do that?
Gotcha. So in this case, I want to take at least 3 rations then. Is basically what it sounds like, right?
Yeah, I would take at least 3 preserved rations. So it takes up pack 3 total.
Pack 3, and that can only be in basically a
one,
backpack or belt.
No, that would be 3 portions. I'm telling him to take 9 portions, basically.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I guess if you wanted to, you could only take... I don't know. If you want to... These are just recommendations. If you feel like, I really need to fit in other stuff, go ahead. I just recommend... And ultimately, as you guys adventure, if you need something in your inventory, you can just toss out other stuff and either leave it behind, or you can build a catch in your camp to store things and hope that it'll stay safe. Things like that, you know.
What's a sacramental?
A sacramental.
And I put my. Go ahead, sorry.
A sacramental is like materials that you use specifically to cast invocations. It's only for peerages. So sacramentals, you can spend them when you cast an invocation to add an extra dice to the roll, but they're consumed. Unlike relics, which are not consumed but still give you that extra dice.
Oh, so that's something I can actually do with my hands.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have empty inventory space that you have no idea how to fill, Ian, sacramentals are a decent choice. Also, I mean, all of this other stuff is pretty useful. What's it called? A cloak. A cloak is helpful for... I think it helps you recover from exhausted.
I'm gonna shove some garlic in my pocket.
Hammer and iron spikes would be useful for any time you climb. Rope would be useful for that too. If you decide that you want to do archery later down the line, you're gonna need a quiver, but for now, don't worry about it. Tinder boxes are good for starting fires during camps. These are all have some use, the book describes in much more detail how they are useful.
So one draught is like
It,
what's the unit of measurement for that?
One
It's like
draught
a
is
serving.
like one drink. It's like one serving, yeah. So like if I tell you, hey, you're hungry, you're thirsty, you need to drink one draught of a drink. So your water skin holds a single
One draught.
draught. Yeah, if you want more water, you need more water skins. Or you need to fill a bottle which holds 2 draughts,
Or jug.
Or a
or a
jug.
jug which holds 3 draughts, and toss it in your pack. That is also totally a fine option.
Okay. I see what we're doing here. So in that case, oh, by the way, I was gonna ask, can I put that gold coins that I received from the Nally Quit or whatever it was? Can I put that in my pockets, or would that be a risk to losing?
Your pocket can contain up to 1D of treasure. So I would not,
so this is
and I would,
yeah.
since that takes pack 1, I would not recommend splitting it because it doesn't save you any space for putting half of it in your pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's do a wine skin then. That's what I'm gonna need.
Also, technically, your belt can only contain either water skins / wine skins or pouches, and then the pouches themselves contain actual items.
Where's the pouches?
Pouches are here on the right side. It's belt 1 or pack 1. So let's say you have 3 pouches on your belt. That's all the slots on your belt, and then each of those pouches has a pack 1 space in it. So you can.
By the way, so the gold coins that I have, since it's a pouch of gold coins, that takes.
That is taking up a belt slot. It takes belt
Okay.
1, and it is containing in its pack 1 slot 2D of gold.
Gotcha. Okay, so wine skin and a pouch. Then it's probably the next thing I need, and I can put an item in those things that have a pack 1. Got it. Sorry, it's
No, you're fine. It's complicated. No, I agree. You guys should be definitely figuring it out together. You should.
Can I put something in, like, could I have spell materials for my neck and my hands?
Can you have spell materials on your neck and your hands? Oh wow, they have worn hands, worn and worn. Yeah, You can wear some spell materials on your hands.
Cool.
You can wear some spell materials on your neck.
I'm also taking a tinder box and mirror. If anyone already has those, I can.
I've
knock
got
those
a
off.
tinder box.
What do you do
Okay.
with a mirror?
I don't know.
The mirror is useful for peeking around corners mostly. Is the primary use of it.
Can
You
I
could
put a
also use
pouch
it- you could also
inside
use it
my
to deflect-
pouch?
Deflect light. Yes. You can put a pouch in a pouch.
Ouch. Does a lantern require oil?
Yes, there are flasks of oil, and there are also, oh yeah, it's just flasks of oil, isn't it?
Yeah. Is a lantern worthwhile or short?
Does somebody have stakes and mallet in case we need a?
I've got that, yeah.
You guys should
Cool.
discuss your light is the main thing you guys should be discussing.
I have 4 torches on me, or
I
like
also,
a set of 4.
So okay, you have a set of 4. I'm not gonna take any lighting then because I'm reserved on.
Keep in mind, here's a
Inventory
very important thing you should keep in mind. If you want to use a torch, you have to hold it. So if Steve's holding a torch, he's using up one of his 2 hands. He cannot then fire a bow.
I'll hold torches. I'll hold some torches
Just-
too then,
just-
because
Just keep
I don't
that
really
in
use my
mind. There are
hands.
going to be situations where you have to decide, am I going to carry this lantern, or am I going to put up this shield? So that is
Okay,
important. So that
with-
might
with
be a
that-
reason why you guys don't all want to be carrying light.
Yeah, I was about to say, since I'm gonna be pretty much a front line of the group, I'm not gonna take any light because I'm gonna probably need both my hands for fighting situations.
That being said, you have to consider how often will a fighting situation arise. There will be plenty of
Right.
times where you're not fighting and you have your hands open to carry a light, but then you have to find a spot to stick.
Your sword and your shield.
I can also, so I can and let's look at the weapons too. I can technically carry things too and drop them and then pick up later kind of deal as well.
Yes,
Oh.
but like I said, anything you put on the ground is fair game for me to take from you.
Fucking A. Fucking A. Like, I can't just like leave, drop it in front of me.
You can, but if you do it and there's a chance, like let's say you're fighting dudes and let's say you're fighting goblins, you put your lantern down, you beat the goblins, but the way combat works in this game is it doesn't matter if you win, it matters how much you win by. And if you only win by, let's say you have like a moderate win. You won by, but you know, it was a decent cost. One of the twists that might happen as a result of this not perfect win, well, okay, you killed most of the goblins, but the ones that got away, they swiped that lantern you left on the ground.
Fuck 'em.
I mean, you can go
There-
chase after them for your lantern.
Is there
I
anything
see,
else?
what did you just
in the
say?
hand?
You can chase after them for your lantern, straight into doom if you want. What's
Oh,
up?
I thought you said.
What else is like? There's not really many options for like neck or hands.
Garlic.
Yes,
I just-
the
Get
warn
that
slots,
garlic.
The warn slots on your neck and hands are pretty limited.
Okay.
No, the garlic
I
is
just
actually.
filled them with spell materials.
Yeah, that is actually a perfect. You can even get other people who don't know what to put in those slots. Hey, carry some spell materials.
Oh yeah, everyone carries spell materials for me.
I'll say I've got one open worn hand slot right now.
Nice.
Um,
I think everything else is full. I also have an open belt slot
Let's take a quick inventory of the light options. So Steve is taking torches. and
I'm taking
Sanjay-
torches.
Sanjay isn't taking torches. So Steve and
No.
Sanjay are basically covered by those 2 torches. What are the other light options for our other?
I have a carried torch and a pouch of torches.
Okay, cool. So Neville, you can cover for you and Ian. So technically speaking, you guys have sufficient light to play. Torches last for 2 turns, so you need more of them than you do candles or lantern flasks. But I think, Steve, you have 4, and Neville, you have 3.
I have
Neville
5.
has 5.
Yeah, it's probably good enough. You could probably, yeah, no, that's good enough. I think so. Worst
Yeah.
case scenario, you're scavenging or building some emergency torches or something.
what is sacramental?
Sacramentals are specifically for Ian. Don't worry about them. They are things Ian. They're like spell materials. Spell materials and sacramentals can be spent for spells and invocations respectively to make them easier to cast.
Okay.
Alright, I think I'm done. I don't have anything for my. Oh, wait, I have a pocket too. What goes in the pocket?
The pocket is for meaningless things. You can store
Okay.
1D of treasure in here, or other like things we wouldn't really track the inventory for, like a small decorative
Okay.
coin or
Yeah.
a note, a scribbled note. So you're not gonna fill your pocket here.
Is there anything in here for the head?
No, the
No,
head
I
is
don't think
the
so.
only things that go on the head are either a helmet or something fun like a hat. That's like
Is any
Okay.
big question? Is anybody bringing a 10-foot pole?
I considered it, but I'm holding torches.
What the fuck are you gonna use that for? I'm gonna bring some rope though. I'm gonna wear it on my torso.
the 10-foot
I've
pole
also
for
got some rope, Sanjay.
testing traps.
Oh, do
out
you?
here.
Satchel, worn torso. Wait, you can make. Wait. Oh no, I'm not gonna wear 2 satchels. That's fine.
One thing I would say,
I mean,
guys,
you could. You'd just
No,
be able to
because
carry
it
more
gives,
stuff.
it gives me the detriment of the backpack, which.
It's good that you guys are giving this good
Oh
thought.
yeah.
I'm gonna tell you now, it's going to be almost impossible to be prepared for this situation. So don't
Yeah.
sweat it too much. But it's good that you're giving it thought.
I think I've got everything that I can
Yeah,
have
you can
here.
get it. Does someone have steak and mallet?
I've got steak and mallet.
Cool. I'm carrying a hammer.
Do we need a quiver? Are you gonna use a bow by any chance, Steve?
I have a quiver. I don't know if I'm going to keep it. I probably won't. I'm planning on using a spear.
Okay. I got rope. Neville has rope. What else can you wear in your torso except the satchel and a cloak?
A satchel, a cloak. Well, a satchel takes 1 slot and a cloak takes 1 slot, right? So I would probably wear another satchel.
No, because I can't remember. I just told you. I read the rule book. If you wear 2 satchels, it's like wearing a backpack
Oh, it's
for
like wearing a backpack? Oh,
for a warrior,
what else
yeah.
could you wear on your... You could wear like a weapon on your back, I think. There are... No, you can't wear... Oh yeah, shield. You could toss a shield on your back.
That's true. Let's do. Can you go back to that? All right, we'll go to that next. So I'm gonna leave my torso slot
Okay.
open.
I'm gonna
Hands.
continue-
What do you need Neville for the worn hands? It was a what medicines material? What it's called?
Spell materials.
Oh yeah, I'll throw some spell materials on my other hand.
Yeah, same.
Ian, how's yours looking?
I don't know. Do you guys want anything extra? I feel like We have too many people. Slightly, so we can have some extras of things.
Light or food, I think, is...
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took an extra torches. I have an extra water.
I
Actually,
put
in
some
terms
garlic
of
on my
food,
neck.
what do we actually have?
We each have
Garlic.
3, I believe. 3
Like,
slots.
three...
Three pack.
3
I
minutes
do
worth.
not.
Okay,
So
you
9
don't.
portions. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I do
Remember,
not.
remember, me and
You
Ian
do
had the
not.
cooking. Me and Ian have the cooking, so we can scavenge
So-
food and stuff for later. We can always
No,
cook.
scavenging for food is survivalist.
Different.
I have
Steve
that.
has survivors. Yeah.
Steve, did you take any food?
I have 1 slot of rations.
1, so I
I
suppose
took
I can
3
take
slots of
extra.
rations.
Neville, did you take 3?
No, I have 3
I
slots
did
of
take 3.
rations.
Okay, I can take
Jesus,
2
you guys
others.
have so much inventory space.
No, we
I
don't.
don't.
You took
Well-
like... You're taking weird stuff like garlic.
I just have the garlic around my neck. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I have, besides the rations, I've got the torches, I've got stakes and a mallet, I've got a water skin, and a tinderbox.
Neville has rope, so we're good there in case we need that.
Those are-
I took okay.
Oh.
So I took
Should I
I
keep
took-
one of my carried free for a weapon?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can
Or-
wield either a dagger or a staff, and you don't necessarily have to. So, but you could keep it.
well
for now.
staff. I think you need to wield with 2 hands, right?
I think it is a two-handed. Yeah.
So you might want to just go with
I'll
dagger.
take a
with the one
dagger
hand.
then. Yeah.
The one
I'll
hand
bring
wield.
some
Staff
wine.
Never
is-
mind,
yeah.
Staff is carried one.
No, it's carried
Oh,
1,
it's
wielded 2.
It's wielded 2.
Yeah.
You need 2.
2,
hands.
okay.
I forgot that wielded was another thing. Yes. You could carry a weapon, but you can also wield a weapon. So you
What
use
is
it in
Wolf's
combat.
Bane?
Wolfsbane is a herb that is strong against werewolves.
And garlic is good against vampires.
Yep.
I think I'm good for now. I took these tools though, because I don't know if we ever need to bring in anything.
Yeah,
We don't
you're
steal.
a criminal, so...
We ever
makes
need to
sense.
steal our way back.
One recommendation, if you guys are really struggling on how to fill these packs, your first adventure will feature some undead. So holy water flask might not be a terrible idea.
Holy water.
Alright,
But
Steve, you're gonna be
you certainly don't need it for this adventure. This adventure is a starting adventure, so I mean, I guess
you're gonna be drinking holy water, Steve, instead of regular water. If it's
I'm gonna be
unused.
get rid of my water skin, taking the holy water.
Can you drink holy water?
No.
Why?
I don't
What if I am a theurge?
I don't think you could drink your holy water. Well, maybe, I don't know. I have to look into it.
I mean,
Does,
Okay,
does
but
somebody
if
else
you
have a tinderbox? Because I can take holy water.
I don't have a tinderbox.
Okay, then I'll hold
I can drop my mirror for holy water though.
we need
No,
a mirror.
we need the mirror, obviously.
Around corners.
We'll use it on every single turn, Adam.
You'll use it every single turn, really?
Okay, but think about it. If you drink holy water, if you dilute holy water in, like, if you add 51% holy water to 49% water, it becomes 100% holy water. So if you drink enough holy water, the stomach juice will become holy gastric juice or whatever the fuck it's called.
The zombies
And
will
then
need you, and it goes in
Yes,
your blood.
Exactly.
Does
Will
holy water
become holy water.
react with stomach acid?
Well, stomach acid is partly water.
Sure.
There's water in it, so
I
that
got holy
water
blood.
I
becomes.
know what the other thing that's gonna go on your worn slot on your torso is. You can wear armor, some of you. Neville can't, but I'm pretty sure all the rest of you can, and I
Yeah.
think it's worn one. That's what
Oh
makes it
yeah.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it then. I need
Let's-
armor.
Yeah, I threw the cloak and the quiver on there just because, but I feel like
Yeah, you
I'll
might have
probably
to remove
replace
it,
them.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
okay. That's okay. We'll just edit as we go. Ian, yours looks pretty good. You do have to decide where your 2 relics are going.
That's not mine.
Oh, that's not you. That's Dante. Never mind. Sanjay, you're good. Ian.
A load of food.
So much food. You're gonna carry the pair of toy oxen there. Your pocket has a silver lancet. Yeah, that's good. That's all good.
You filled up your whole backpack with food except
Well,
for the
since someone
torches.
is not taking any.
Ian is a pantry.
Look, I can find my own food. It's
That was
fine.
really a whoops.
Alright, I'll leave you to eat the mushrooms on your own then.
Okay. No, tell me which mushrooms are okay to eat.
I'll tell you after you've eaten.
Okay.
Neville, you might want to put just like parentheses 3 next to all these preserved rations, just so you know how many portions are left.
That's
I'll
true.
share
Yeah.
a portion. This all otherwise looks good. And fucking skip Ian. No, I didn't skip Ian. What did I forget? Steve?
Did you get me,
Ella-
Steve?
Oh my fucking god.
Alaralaladin.
Oh god.
What have you done?
Alaralaladinil.
What have you done?
I had to go with a great sounding elf name.
Please have a nickname.
You can call me L.
Melody.
Thank God.
Elephant.
Or if you want, you could call me Alaralendinil.
I'll try my best. Alright, looks like we're good. Alright, nice. You guys got past what I think is the hardest part. Or rather, the most time-consuming part. Alright, perfect. Let's continue. Choose your starting weapons. Neville, you guys are
Exactly.
you get a dagger or a staff, Chief. You get nothing else.
Taking the staff.
Steve, you can pick a sword, a spear, a bow, or a dagger. Ian, you're gonna pick one either other than bows and crossbows, and that's gonna be the only one you can use for the rest of your life.
Those are
And
crossbows.
Sanjay, you can take whatever the hell you want.
Greatsword.
You may additionally take a shield. Oh, Ian and Sanjay, you may both additionally. Everyone's gonna pick one thing. Ian and Sanjay can specifically also take a shield if they want.
No,
Here is
greatsword.
here are the starting weapon choices. Now, here's how weapons work, guys. Weapons either give you a bonus to certain types of actions in combat, like attacking or defending, or they might change the way a certain type of action works. For example, bows. Let's take bows. Bows are a perfect example of the way the attack action. It's a rock paper scissors system. There's attack, defend, feint, maneuver. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but when both of you pick attack, both of you just deal damage to each other. It's just like a devastating blow for blow. Both sides take damage, which is not great. A bow turns that attack versus attack into a contested roll. Now you roll attack against the opponent's attack, and whoever rolls higher, they get to do their attack, and the lower one doesn't get to do their attack. So a bow can turn attacks from like bloody like brawls into like calculated like just beat out your opponent through pure skill type thing. They all have some sort of bonus like that. Keep in mind that some of them are they require more hands to wield than they do to carry, so make sure you have enough hands to wield whatever you want to use. Neville, you can take a dagger or a staff. You don't necessarily need to ever use it. You could toss it on your belt if you want, just hold it. If you really want to, you could not take one too. Up to you. I will say that because you don't have the fighter or the hunter skill, your options with weapons are pretty limited as to like how useful you can make them. The rest of you all have fighters, so you all have reason to take a weapon, or a shield. But Neville, you're a little special. You may there's no not taking a dagger or staff isn't necessarily a bad idea. All right, I want to hear what everyone took. Steve, what'd you take?
For weapon?
Yeah.
Spear.
Sanjay, what about you?
Greatsword.
Great sword, nice. Ian?
What if I do a single weapon somehow and it's the flail? It seems unrealistic. I think I'll take a hand axe.
You'll take a hand axe? Okay, and then Neville.
I took a staff.
Staff. Okay, cool. Starting armor. Alright. Burglars, outcast, rangers, warriors. So Steve and Sanjay, you start with leather armor, which is torso 1. So if you have that extra worn slot on your inventory, please put leather armor there.
Perfect.
Sanjay, your head slot's open, right? Go ahead and put a...
Yep.
If you didn't take a shield, which I don't think you did, go ahead and put a
Nope.
helmet there.
Hey, got him. All
Armor,
predicted.
armor can absorb a single point of damage that hits you, and sometimes needs repair. Basically, the way it works is it's guaranteed to absorb the damage, and then after it takes damage, we roll to see if it broke or if it continues to work. There's more information on page 150. Ian, you should have no armor. Neville, you should have no armor. And yeah, that's good. Alright. We already did spell books. We already did relics. Alright, belief. Alright, now we're getting to the roleplay parts. A belief is a single sentence describing your personal philosophy, your code. Your belief is something that's very important to you, even if it's not objectively important. They're usually about the adventuring life, or making fuckloads of money, or caring about your friends, or things like that. If you don't know what to do when you're role-playing your character, it should be a sentence that you can look to for guidance. When you fulfill your beliefs, you gain experience points. When you work against your beliefs, and it's like emotionally distressing because you're forced to do something that goes against your beliefs, that also gains you experience points. So role playing your belief is one of the main ways in which you advance your character's level. I have a couple examples there. I am the bulwark that stands between my friends and harm. I'm the leader of this group of adventurers. There's no life for me but one of spending blood and earning treasure. I will keep our spirits high so good things happen to us. I will help my comrades I must help my comrades
fight for my friends.
consider every angle before making a decision. I'll do whatever it takes to get ahead in this world, and I'll wear a smile doing it. It's going to be a single sentence, and it's usually going to start with the word I.
Oh. Mine doesn't start with I.
It'll be like, I am, or I will. What's yours?
The pursuit of knowledge is the most noblest of paths, no matter what toll it may cost.
Okay, perfect. That's good. Well, I'll give you guys a couple of minutes to think about it. Once you know once you've got something written down, please tell me, so I'll know when to continue. A belief is your character's primary personality trait, basically, or like motivation, I guess, is probably the best one.
And we write this in.
There should be a section for it somewhere, right?
Oh yeah, please. God, shit, my blood.
We are very close to finishing. We're only about 4 slides away. And then we're done for tonight. Okay, so character creation took about 3.5 hours for you guys. That is good to know. I have a good idea of how long it'll take next time, for tomorrow too.
Done.
Alright, what is it, Sanjay?
Winning and fighting are the only satisfying things left in the Stole world.
Wait, say that way slower.
Yeah.
Oh, winning and fighting are the only satisfying things left in the Stole world.
Okay, perfect. Awesome, I love it. Alright. You're good, Sanjay. Just chill while we wait for the others.
All right.
What's yours, Steve?
I will do what is necessary to ensure my own survival.
Okay, cool. And when you're ready, Ian.
I must protect my loved ones and those that will help me do so.
Okay, perfect, cool. So Ian's gonna care about the party. Steve, maybe a little bit less so, but still has to. But for the record, you still have to care a little bit.
Yes, I am aware.
Sure, yep. Sanjay loves fighting, not surprised. Neville loves knowledge, not surprised. Let's continue. Once again, so role-playing, this is very important, and when we actually play the game, you'll see how important it is. Alright, this is for the power gamers. Let's go. Alright, so this is a condition. Your instinct is a conditional statement. It's like, always do, never do, if this happens, I do this, etc. They're the main ways in which you guys can play in an optimal fashion. Normally, when you make a test, it costs a turn.
Sorry.
What's up?
Kieran says never trust Orpheus's calls when in the rat district.
Oh, yeah,
Wait.
So, when you...
Oh, wait, you... Oh, God, no.
And what's it called? Normally, when you make a test, it costs a turn. And every 4 turns in a dungeon, something bad happens. You guys all get a new condition. Which means that in Torchbearer, every single thing you guys do has to count. Because it costs you something. It costs time. And time is very precious. Instincts are your chance to skip a little bit of, like, save some time. If a group that has very good, well-coordinated instincts can sometimes make certain parts of the game extremely easy. And you guys can be like a well-oiled machine if you've got good instincts. Okay. When you activate an instinct, it's no one else can really help you, but you can still activate your wises and your traits and your rewards. I've got a couple examples. Adric says, always keep the light lit. If I were to make Adric, let's say Adric fails a test and he drops his torch into the water, he gets one free test to try and make some light during that fight. Kieran says, never trust Orpheus' calls when in the Rat District. When Orpheus decides to go left during the dungeon, Kieran gets one free test to scout ahead and make sure things are safe. Foss says, camp always means a tasty meal. When the camp phase starts, Foss gets one free test to try and cook something. So these are extremely important. They can be useful during the camping phase, useful during fights, useful during exploration, whatever you want. This is a part of it. This is another section where you guys should talk, figure out like, hey, what parts of the games do we want to sort of trivialize? What parts of the game, what would fit with our characters but still be useful? I will tell you how useful your instinct is, and I will warn you if you're choosing something particularly useless for my campaign, because I want you guys to pick good instincts so you guys aren't struggling too much.
Well, I have one in mind already. Can I?
Yeah. What do you think?
Mine would be like always keep your equipment and weapons well maintained or like well oiled or something like
Okay,
that.
cool. That's a good one. You know what that will do? If you have the armorer skill, during camp, I'd probably let you repair a piece of armor for free once. You do one free test to repair a piece of armor. But repairing armor does require the armorer skill. If you don't already have the armorer skill, you can use beginner's luck to do it, which is you have good health, so you can still do it, and you can still do it for free with an instinct. It's not a bad instinct to have at all. Just because you don't have the armor skill doesn't mean you should get rid of it. I think it's totally fine. It's gonna gonna mean that you can repair your armor frequently.
Yeah,
so
I'll do
I
that
think
one.
I want to do. Oh, sorry. I think I want to do something about like if always identify like hidden or lost relics when we find them.
Okay. So in that case, that could be useful for getting a free when you find a new lost relic or item that seems of great mystery. I'd give you a free lore master test to try and learn about it. Or yeah, I guess that's what I would do. Yeah, that's probably the primary. Now, I'm just giving you examples of how I'd use these instincts. Maybe there's other situations where they might come up. For the most part, your instincts are going to do one specific thing every time that thing comes up.
Right.
I've got always triple check your surroundings when setting up camp.
Okay, cool. So, that would probably be as before the camp phase starts. So one of the things you could do, I think, you can spend a turn before you're planning on camping to like search for an optimal camp. I guess I would let you do that for free. Or you get one attempt at doing it for free.
Right.
And then Ian, what are you thinking? So we got 2 good ones for camp, we got 1 for investigations and stuff.
If someone is injured, they must be helped.
Okay, perfect. Anytime someone wants to recover from a condition during the camp phase, Ian's going to get 1 free healer test to try and help them recover. So like once per camp. So Sanjay, Steve, and Ian, you each have like a once per camp instinct basically. And Neville, you're going to be able to spam yours every time the situation comes up. You're going to be able to do it once for each new hidden relic type item you find. So those are all fantastic. I think you guys are going to make, with those, you guys are going to really, your camp phases are going to be strong. Even if you don't come in with a lot of checks, you're going to have strong camp phases. And Neville will help progress the story a little bit, so that's good too. Those are great instincts. Go ahead and write them down. Something you should know. You can change your instinct at the beginning of, no, I guess at the end of a session? I don't know. At some point, it's either the beginning or the end, you can adjust your instinct. So it's okay if we didn't nail it this time. We can adjust it as we go. Alright.
Okie dokie.
Goals and creeds, we're going to skip. A goal is something you write down, like an objective you want to accomplish in that session. So at the beginning of every session, I'm going to ask everyone what's their goal for this session. And a creed, you're going to earn at level 3. It's like a ideal that's bigger than your belief. It's not just about you, it's about the world at large. Alright, level 1 benefits, what's it called? The only things you guys have to write are, I think there's a section for your benefits. Is it listed by level? Let me look at it real fast. Dante.
Under level, there's level requirements and benefits.
Ah, I see. Okay. Go ahead and type what you see.
Where is it sub down?
Go ahead and type what you see on my screen for your class.
Wait, where's?
Where do we?
Under level.
Under the level tab on your character sheet.
Oh, the tab. I see.
Neville, I just want you to write the memory palace thing.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, I just want you to write the +1 to camp events thing.
Right.
Ian, I just want you to write that first one about Urder.
Yeah.
And Sanjay, you just need to write that second one about the camp phase.
Yep.
So the way future levels are going to work, you're gonna get to pick between two options.
Okay.
The two options tend to be similar-ish. Like it'll be two defensive options, two options about camping, two options about roleplay. I think. Sometimes they diverge a little bit, but yeah. Neville and Ian, you guys will a couple at specific levels. You'll get the option of picking a class benefit or increasing your memory palace capacity / Urder. Urder is like memory. It's like spell slots, just like memory. They're both like spell slots. They work slightly differently. For Neville, it's a hard cap on how many spells he can cast. For Ian, it's like a soft cap on how many invocations he can cast. Once he goes past that, he starts hurting himself. Alright, last slide. I need a name from everyone. I need to rhyme it, which is a distinctive item of clothing you always wear. Steve's top hat. Ian's brooch. Neville's arm guard. It's non-functional. It's just simply how like other adventurers will be like, oh yeah, the guy with the top hat. You're gonna pick an age from the ranges you see here. So for my humans, you can be 14 to 21. My elf, you can be 60 to 101. And then lastly, where it says conditions, I think at the top of your, like the middle topic, go ahead and check off the fresh condition. You will very, very rarely get to be fresh ever again.
No.
Whoops.
This is the last of what you need. Once you guys are done this, we are done for tonight's session. Thank you all for coming. Before each Sunday, I'll ping you guys and ask you about your availability and figure out time. I think probably the time will usually be around 6 p.m. because it works with Steve's schedule. Malia will be joining us at some point, and I'll do character creation with her separately, with Steve's help and stuff. Or Steve, if you want to, after this goes up on YouTube, you can just have her watch this video. And
That's actually what I was thinking. Yeah, I'd go through it with her with the video.
Yeah, sure. That's a perfectly good idea. You should. That's a really good. You should probably have her Roll20 up, the Dungeoneer's Guide, and then my video, and just work through it with her as you watch it. And then
Is there restrictions to the raiment, by the way? Sorry, I didn't mean to.
It can be anything other than like a hard piece of armor. It has to be clothing or valueless jewelry. It can't be like a breastplate.
No.
Unless it's like a shitty breastplate, I guess. I don't know.
I have an Outback hat.
It could be like arm guards, but the arm guards are useless.
Right. I get you.
Cowboy?
Yeah, like a cowboy hat.
Alright, we are done tonight's session. I'm looking forward to our future sessions. You guys are going to be thrown right into the thick of an adventure called the Dread Crypt of Skokenby.
Oh, the name we get with the title too, right?
The name, yeah, it's like a name and title, like Kirin the Bold or Foss the Plant.
Foss the Plant.
Foss the
Good
plant.
title.
First Foss the Green, then Foss the Plant. God, what
I
is
forgot
this disrespect out
I
of?
said that earlier. Foss of Vastwood. So a good one is your town, like blank of town name, or blank the descriptive adjective, or I don't know, stuff like that. If you don't want to, you really don't have to, but I think it's cool. I think you should do it. Try it out.
Dante the Destroyer.
Exactly.
You could do that. Yeah, totally.
No, that's what I did.
Alera
Just reading it.
Okay.
Steve, pronounce your first name.
Alera Lendinel?
What the fuck did you
Fuck
just
you.
say?
Very Lendable.
Something I should
I'll get the hang of
mention
it eventually.
now that we're at the end of character creation, you might be looking at your character and be thinking, this isn't really what I had in mind when I first started. If you really don't like anything, please let me know. We can make adjustments, go back, start this whole process all over again if you really want to. But I heavily encourage you guys to roll with what you've got here. You're all experienced role players. Even for those of you who don't feel like experienced role players, you'll find that maybe it feels good to be restricted by character creation. Your characters will evolve over time. You will see how Torchbearer is primarily a dungeon crawler, but secondarily a story about how people in difficult situations transform and evolve to better themselves and best those situations and survive. But we're done. I'm going to wrap up the recording here.